Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome. Happy New Year. Welcome to our very first AMAS session today. All right, 2nd January 2026. Good morning. And if you guys can see and hear me, this type of GM for good morning, or this type of H for Happy New Year, guys. If you guys can see and hear me loud and clear, you can see my screen as well. And let's get started, right? Let's get started for today. I think let's wait for more people to join us right now. Okay, let me just go to acknowledge those of you who are early. Okay, we have, let's see. Hi, Ajif. Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. Hi, Andrew. Good morning. Happy New Year. All right, Happy New Year as well. Victor, good to see a lot of familiar names. Hi, John. Good morning. Happy New Year as well. Hi, Elgin. Happy New Year, everyone. Okay, good. It seems like this is working, all right, for a moment because we have, this is our very first session of the year. I want to make sure that everything is working fine and glad that, this is working fine. So, yeah, maybe I can just get on today's session right now, right? And what happens is that if you've been following us, guys, we've been doing this AMAS Ask Me Any Stock session since last year, all right? So today, same thing, we'll be doing it every Friday. We go live, all right, whereby we cover the Singapore market and even the US market. So we alternate between the Singapore and the US. So the previous session 2 weeks back was on the Singapore market. Last week we took a break, right? Just one final break of the entire year, all right? And today we are back to the US market, right? So if you're looking at the US stocks, right, US market, you are in the right place, right? Next Friday we're back to the Singapore market. So very simple, right? In this session, right, I'll just do a quick market outlook. We'll cover, the S&P 500 index, maybe even the Dow Jones, right? And just, cover what has happened over the past few weeks, all right? Or maybe since today is the very first session of 2026, right? Let's cover the entire 2025 and see what actually happened in 2025, right? Why are we going up and down and up and down, and where are we right now? What is the outlook for 2026 as well, right? Then after that, after the quick market outlook, then we'll dive into the stocks, the US stocks that you guys are asking about, the US stocks, right? So I believe some of you are already typing in the name of the US stocks in the chat, right? So yeah, you can do that later, not to worry. But when you do that later, when you type the name of the US stocks, right, what you want to do, right, is to give us a bit of context. Yeah, don't just type like Apple, there, and then we have no idea what you want to do with Apple. You want to buy, you want to sell, you bought it last year, what price, don't know. All right, so give us a bit of context. What are you looking to do? Are you looking to buy, to sell? You're holding on for 1 year, what price do you get in? Then we'll give you more priority, right, to your US stock. Does it make sense, Mark? Rather than just one name there, all right? And that's what we'll do, right? So we'll try to cover as many as possible. We'll try to cover like maybe about 15 over stocks each time. Then at the end, I have my team as well here with me, Bervin and Jia. Later I'll introduce them. But at the end, each of us will share with you one bonus US stock that you can put in your watch list for potentially more upside as we hit further into 2026, right? So that's after covering your US stocks. So make sure you stay all the way to the end, right? If you want to know what are the US stocks that we have in our portfolio, we are watching, we're looking for re-entry, or maybe you're really holding on to it, right? Make sure you stay all the way to the end. All right. Okay. So let's get started right now. All right. I think good morning. Let's see who is here over here, right? We have Charlie as well. Good morning. Vincent. A lot of familiar names. Thank you so much for joining us. And maybe before I begin, guys, would it be okay if you help us to like and share? Help us to like and share so that we can reach more people. All right. Help us to like and share. Please take about 20 seconds. Hit the heart shape button. Hit the heart shape button somewhere at the bottom. All right. Help us to like and share. Thank you so much. Let's see, right? Who has helped us to like and share this? All right, hit the like and share button. And of course, if you share, right, then it will be kind of like on your social media and stuff, right? You will be able to find, the replay easily as well. And if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, I think at the top, there will be like a bell icon or something. Hit the subscribe button if not yet, so that when we go live in 2026, you will be notified as well. All right. Okay, so let's get started right now. In case we've not met, my name is Joey Choy. All right, top tier reminds you, Credo in Philips Securities. I've been doing this for more than 15 years now, and I focus on pretty much trend trading strategy, all right, that I now call the one good trend, all right? So this one good trend strategy effectively is to ride stocks along with the trend. That's it, very simple, all right? We want to be in the same direction as the trend, right? But being in the same direction as the trend is one thing. You also want to know when to get in and out when you're in the same direction as a trend, right? So in this one good trend strategy, what we have what we call a 7-step checklist, and I also have a tool that just makes things so much easier, all right? And I call these two the one good trend pro indicator, which I'll be using later, right, together with my team to give you an analysis on your US stock. So today I didn't have the time to, explain the whole strategy and the whole indicator and stuff, right? But, if you want to find out a bit more, well, first thing first, you want to find a bit more? Well, we do have the very first, in fact, that's the very first webinar we have in 2026, right? And that's happening next Tuesday, right? Next Tuesday, 6th of Jan. Next Tuesday, 6th of Jan, 2026. The link is right in the chat, right? If you want to know more about the strategy, the indicator, click on the link, go to this page, register for free online masterclass next Tuesday, the very, very first one of the year, 6th of Jan, 2026, at 7:30 p.m. All right, so the link is right in the chat, right? So that's why we actually dive into detail the entire strategy, and also share with you guys a bit more on how do we actually filter out and sieve out the top 1% of stocks, right, in the Singapore, in the US market, before we know what to do with them, right? Whether to get in and buy or to sell them, or maybe not to do anything at all. All right, so link in the chat, click on it, and that's where, okay, let me just show you guys the link in case you guys are new, right? So the link is right in the chat. Once you click on the link, right, you'll come to this page right over here. Okay, let me just share with you this page over here. All right, and there we go. All right, so click on the link in the chat. You'll come to this page right over here. How to 3x your portfolio in 2026, right? So it's a brand new year, guys, 2026, with my proven one good trend framework. No finance degree needed, guys. We keep things simple. You don't need to be super smart and stuff, right? I'm not very smart as well, all right? But we follow a simple, repeatable process that anyone can follow. This is the date, 6th of Jan, next Tuesday, 7:30 p.m., 9:30 p.m. is on Zoom, all right? So you don't have to travel anywhere. You can do it at home. Click on the link, put in your name, your email, your phone number, and this is pretty much the 3 secrets that will be covered, right? Why trend trading is the simplest and most profitable strategy for 2026. The 2 techniques to know when to get in and get out. And of course, how do we scan the market in less than 5 seconds, right? So check it out. This is the page. And that's where I'll share more. Check out what others are saying as well. Cool? All right. Okay, so let's get started. So this is me, all right? And I have my team here as me as well. Today we have Bervin joining us. Z, one of my team members, is still on leave, right? She'll be back, I think, probably next Friday. Bervin, I think Z will be back next Friday, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yes, yeah. So Z will be back next Friday to join you guys. She's on an extended holiday, well-deserved extended holiday. Yeah.
Well-deserved break. So Z will be back. All right. Z also one of my top brokers under me, assisting me, and she's proficient in anything to do with technical analysis. But not to worry, Z will be back next Friday. Do join us next Friday if you want to check out, what Z has to say about her stocks, about the stocks that you guys want. But today we have Bervin and Jia with me. So let me just introduce Bervin. Bervin, one of the top brokers under me in Phillip Securities, joining me as well. Has been with me since I think 2020, more than 5 years now, assisting in our teams, sessions, our group coaching sessions, our one-on-one sessions from mentees, even assisting our team's portfolio manager as well with the portfolio management business, whereby we have a 7-figure AUM business as well. All right, so Bervin is a CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst, very strong not just in technical but also fundamental analysis. I think some of you who have been listening to Bervin analyze your stocks can attest to that as well. And let me just pass on the mic to Bervin, all right? Maybe to just share a bit on himself, or maybe to start off today's session as in the very first session of 2026. Bervin, come, go ahead.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, first of all, I'd like to say happy 2026 to everybody that's joining us today. All right, so we're really, really thankful to see you guys come back, year after year. So 2nd year already. All right, so I don't know what is your resolutions for 2026, but personally, my resolution this year for you guys will be to to add as much value to you guys as much as possible. To grow, Joey's channel, to reach out to more people as well, to give them, a little bit of more insights on what the market is doing, what could the market be going forward in 2026 be looking like. And of course, on a personal front, just like to be, maintain my general health and maintain my general fitness in that sense. So I think in this case, this year is a very, very good year to be looking for a lot of events that could come in. All right. If you are someone who watches soccer, World Cup, okay, so that's happening this year. But on the market front, some rate cuts, a little bit of attention is still in the political front. But I think in the general sense, I think we still can be a little bit cautiously optimistic, quoting Z, cautiously optimistic coming into 2026. All right, so now I'll pass the time to Joey to introduce our next team member.
All right, so thank you so much, Bavin. All right, and right now we have want to share with you guys on Jai, who has joined us on a few of these AMA sessions as well. All right, Jai, one of the top brokers under me in Philip Securities, joining me for more than, I think, 2-3 years now. Very strong in technical analysis as well. Very well versed in the entire one good trend strategy, advising our thousands of clients, broking clients. All right, and maybe let me pass on the mic to Jai to share a little bit on himself. Jai, go ahead.
Hi. Thank you, Joey. So, hi everyone, I'm Jai. So, good to see everyone here this morning, and happy 2026 as well. So, I think as we step into 2026, it's a great time to actually start the month with a good habit and also a positive mindset. So, I think I would like to encourage everyone to actually join the AMS session every Friday whenever you guys are free or possible. To make it as a good habit, as it's a good opportunity to actually stay disciplined and also learn consistently and also stay connected as a community. So I hope that maybe with this consistent and discipline, by the end of the year, with the right habit in place, we'll be able to look back and also see meaningful progress and also good results together. So hopefully that with this one whole year, I'm also able to add value to you guys as well. So I think with that, I'll pass back my time to Joey.
All right, thank you so much, Jai. So later, what happens is that me, Bavin, and Jai, very simple. We will just go round robin style after doing the market outlook. Then I'll cover this one, the very first US stock for today. Then I'll pass on the mic to Bavin, and then we'll pass on to Jai. All right, and then we just go very quickly. We try to cover maybe one stock about 1 minute, 2 minute max. All right, and then we try to cover as many as possible. Cool. Okay, so let's get started. Let me just get to share my screen again. All right, and yeah, just a quick disclaimer, same thing that we always do. Whatever that's being shared today by me and my team members, Jai and Bavin, is just for education purposes only, right? So please do your own due diligence, right? It's not really to ask you to buy or sell anything, right? Just to share with you guys my framework, the one good trend pro indicator, the process, the entire flow, all right? And you decide, if you want to do anything at all. Cool. All right. So that is kind of like disclaimer that we have to do. Okay, Ken? Okay, so now let's go to cover what we call the market very quickly. How many of you want me to cover the market? This type of M for market, guys. If you want me to cover maybe the market, the S&P 500 index type of M for market, let me know. Good morning, Damien. All right, Joey, Bobby, and Jai, and Z. Right? Yes, good morning, right? Let me see. Edward, good morning as well. I think a lot of you are typing in the name of the stocks already, right? Awesome. market, M for market. Okay, so let's just go to cover the market very quickly. I think today we have more than 100 of you joining us. Welcome. Okay, so this is the S&P 500 index, right? The index, a very popular index that pretty much accounts for the top 500 companies in the US. So I'll not go too far. This is since 2024. You can see that I've already turned on my one good trend pro indicator. So look at this, right? So this is the market. And this tool, as I mentioned, whereby in the matter of seconds, I can turn on the bullish or bearish signals, right? And it gives me an opinion in less than 2 seconds, in fact, all right? Whether to buy or to sell. So we see a green bullish signal. Not too good, not too bad, right? Good thing, right? That's where we could see potentially more upside. If you see a bearish signal, then maybe a bit of selling and come back. We want to exit, take some profit, get out, or maybe reduce our exposure as well, right? So this is the market. So let me go to this, look at the market without turning on the signals, but this is the market since like 2024. Look at this, right? 2024, very strong rally. And in 2025, just last year, today's the first session of the year, right? So in 2025, look at this, right? When we started in 2025, somewhere over here, right? Pretty okay. I mean, it was consolidating sideways, but somewhere around February, March, there were talks about tariff, right? Look at this. And the market, if you've been following, Trump and stuff, we saw quite a heavy sell down in the market because it was very new and Trump hinted about tariffs, right? And eventually, after March, in April, he actually, I think on the 7th of April, right over here, he announced the reciprocal tariffs and the market really tanked, right? More than 10, 15% is sold off. And after that, we saw a very strong recovery. Of course, it escalated a little bit more with China and US. The tensions escalating, and then so tit for tat war with China and US both increasing and raising their tariffs, right? But ultimately, thankfully, all right, there was some negotiation talks. Both of them delayed and pushed back their tariffs, and it went back to the baseline tariffs, right? So the market started to recover very strongly. Look at this, from about 5,000 all the way to 6,800 to where we are right now. And of course, over the past 1 to 2 months, that's where we saw some weakness as well, because there was what we call talks about AI companies or AI stocks becoming overvalued, right? So there are concerns on overvaluations, and that kind of led to a little bit of a sell down. And of course, there were 3 rate cuts in 2025 as well that led the very strong rally in the AI sector. So I think the AI was pretty much in play, right? The AI sector, technology sector, since like May, June, July, very strong run up led by NVIDIA, Broadcom, and many of those AI tech stocks, right? The Magnificent 7 stocks. Very strong rally, right? But over the past 2-3 months, since like November, December, well, some profit taking have set in, and we are kind of like, heading towards what we call a bit of a resistance level. So overall, I would say that the long-term trend is up for the market. How do we know that? Well, look at the red line and the blue line. So 100 days moving average is the red line. The blue line is the 200 days moving average. So if the 100 days moving average line is above the 200 days moving average line, right? So red above the blue, both pointing up, I would say that the long-term uptrend is intact. And it has been intact, I would say, since May and July, all right? Red above the blue, both pointing up. So I think the market is pretty strong. Of course, in the short term, we are in a bit of a consolidation, right? Up, down, up, down. Let me go to draw this, I would say, very key support level we have found for the S&P 500 index. I would say somewhere near 6,500. That's where we have seen a couple of buying pressure coming back. In fact, when we saw a sell down in November, all right, due to this AI valuation concerns, we sold off, a very strong rebound again, and there we go. So I think 6,005 is a very key level. If we stay above it, still quite okay. What about the resistance? Well, resistance used to be about 6,900, but over the past week, it seems like we have seen a new resistance at 6,950. That was where we were, I think, somewhere on Friday. In fact, I would say last Friday, exactly last Friday, we touched about 6,950 right over there, and selling pressure came back, right? So I think a bit of a consolidation below the 6,950 resistance, but overall, long-term uptrend intact. And let's take a look at what it says on the 1GT Pro indicator, right? So very simple. Let me go to turn on the buy and sell signals, right? Very simple, right? Look at this right over here. So I'll not go too far, but somewhere around like in 2025, as I mentioned, right? We saw a sell down due to Trump tariffs announcement, all these tariffs, right? So we got 2 bearish signals, all the way down. So we see a bearish signal, you want to be careful. You don't want to rush, right? You want to wait for a re-entry to get back in. When you see a bullish signal and some confirmations of a reversal, it did come, right? Look at this, right? We got a bullish signal somewhere in April, right? 22 of April, to be exact, 29 of April, all the way up. A bearish signal went sideways, another bullish signal, all the way up. And a couple of bearish signals have came out, obviously, since October and November, all right? As there were some rate cuts, but they'll talk about AI valuations, all right? And we are pretty much in the sideways movement, but so far so good, right? You can see that a new bullish signal have got triggered somewhere around 11 of December, all right? About 3 weeks back, we got a new 1GT bullish signal. So not too bad, right? I think that this 6,950, or maybe just to give a bit of allowance, the 7,000 psychological resistance level, if you just shift out, I think that's a very key level, right? If you can see a break above the 7,000 for the S&P 500 index, all right? And maybe even a new 1GT bullish signal. So now we only got one, right? The first 1GT bullish signal. Let me show you what I mean, right? So we got the first one here, reversal, second one, pop, even faster. So now we got one, all right? Which means there's some sign of strength coming back. But if you can break that 7,000 resistance and maybe a new 1GT bullish signal appears, I think that is where we could really see a lot more upside momentum as we head into 2026, right? All the way to 7,005, even 8,000, right? And that's what could happen, right? But I think right now, a bit of consolidation, that's fine. We've been doing it for the past 2-3 months, fine, all right? It's good to see a bit of consolidation. It's what we call a healthy uptrend before attempting to break to find a new high, all right? And that is the S&P 500 index. Let me just go to look at what we call the Dow Jones, right? The Dow Jones, right? Right up here, one of the very popular index in the US as well. You can see we are around at 48,063. So very quickly, you can see that I've already turned on the 1GT Pro indicator, whereby we have a couple of bullish and bearish signal. Pump, gone, zero, nothing to see, right? Pump, let's turn it on, and there we go. So let's take a look very quickly. You can see that for Dow Jones as well. Same thing, right? Somewhere in February last year, 2025, we got a bearish signal. What happened? All the way down. We don't want to rush. We get a bullish signal, all the way up. Bearish signal sideways for a while. Another bullish signal led the rally even more. And let's take a look at what has happened over the past 2 to 3 weeks. So we got a new 1GT bullish signal. So not too bad, right? We got a bullish signal, long-term uptrend intact. The short-term, we can take a look at what we call the green 20 days moving average line. So we're going to see what we call the green 20 days moving average line, kind of like pointing up, like something like this, pointing up, very gently pointing up. If it happens, good, all right? That's where we could continue to see more strength in the short term, right? That means the short-term trend is aligned with the longer term trend. So far so good, right? Resistance wise, we can draw it for you. I think maybe somewhere around the 48,800. That is pretty much where we've seen some selling about 2 times. Pump came back down. That was in like December, second week of December. We came back down, went up last week, came back down. Okay, so I think 48,800 is a very key resistance. If that gives way, or maybe 49,000 gives way, targets could be revised all the way to that 50,000 as well, right? And that will be a very key, I would say, psychological resistance level for the entire Dow Jones. All right, so not too bad. My take for the market is that I think this year in 2026 will be still same thing. I think there'll be like 2 rate cuts potentially coming, all right, over the next few months, and that's why it's planned. I think the play will still be more or less on the AI space, the AI sector, led by many of those mega AI plays like Nvidia and stuff, because we can see a bit of profit taking here and there. Maybe in fact later we can cover some of them as well. But the AI story is still here to stay. I think some people have been saying, oh, it might be a bubble and stuff, but it's been talking about this bubble since like many months back. But yes, it's still been strong, right? Every time we consolidate, we push down a little bit, we rechase back down, buyers come back, they defend, and we push even higher. All right, so the play will still be on the AI sector. That will be the one leading the entire US market. Does it make sense, Mark? All right. Okay, so that it is. I've just done a very quick market outlook on the S&P 500 index, even the even the Dow Jones, and I hope you have taken note of some of the key levels. Now, let me go ahead to share with you guys maybe the very first stock for today. All right, so what happens is, right, go ahead to type in the chat the US. So today, guys, right, we are looking at the US market, as I said, right? So if you're holding on to any US stock, right, or maybe you bought last week, or you bought last year, or you sold already, you want to buy again, or you don't know what to do, right? Type in the chat, but give us a bit of context, right? Give us a bit of context, right? Type in the name of the US stock, maybe the code, and let us know, right? What do you want to know about the US stock? You want to buy, you want to sell, you got it, what price, you bought last year, you don't know what to do, right? Give us a bit of context. That's where we will give you, I would say, more priority. We kind of like pick the stocks that a lot of you are asking about as well. All right, okay, let me just go through right now and pick the very first US stock for today. All right, and then I'll pass on the mic to Vertiv and DJI. Okay, and then we'll try to cover as many US stock as possible. Okay, let me go ahead to see. So just give me some time, guys. This is the first time looking at what the comments. Okay, let's see, right? Okay, let's take a look at this, right? John, the very first stock for today. Thanks for giving us a bit of context, John. I bought 263 shares. Wow, still let me know how many shares you bought, right? Very good. Thank you so much, right? So you bought 263 shares of Visa at an average price of 326.17. Okay, very good. So let's take a look at Visa. V-I-S-A, Visa. Where would that be, right? Visa will be V. Okay, I think this is Visa right over here. Let's take a look. Visa, okay. So you bought at $326. Now it's what? Now it's $350. Okay, good. Well, make some money already. Okay. Stop loss has since been shifted gradually up to now 342. Very good. You are shifting up your stop loss to protect your profits, all right? Because you got in at 326, all right? You shift up your stop loss to 342. So even if it go down and hit your stop loss at 342, you're still above 326, you'll still make money, all right? Good one, right? Good one, right? Very good. Let's go to see what happened, right? So do you think my target at $400 is realistic? So very good. We come to the target in a bit, but let's take a look at Visa, V-I-S-A, right? The code is V. The code is V, right? One of the very popular US stocks as well. Now let's take a look. So you can see that for Visa, if you ask me in like June, July, August, then I think maybe not so good, because you can see we got first 1GT bearish, the second one came out, and then we went down from 370, 370 go down until 320 lah. Does it make sense, Mom? All right. But over the past 1-2 months, all right. So you can see, okay, let me just shift that video. You can see that for Visa, right? Even previously, somewhere in 2024 as well, I've got a very good 1GT bullish, all the way up, a bearish signal, get out, take some profit. You can see starts going down. A new bullish signal. There we go. So every time we get a new bullish signal, right? Look at this, the first one. How many percent would that be, right? That was in 2024. 28%, all right? This one again, about 8%. Now, how many percent? I would say maybe about 6%, all right? But every time you get a 1GT bullish signal and we get some other confirmations, you can see that that's where there could be a very good potential of a reversal, of a recovery, right? So let's take a look at what has happened for Visa. You can see that over the past 1 month, we got the new 1GT bullish signal right over here, right? And if you take a look at the longer term trend, so the longer term trend, if you ask me in like 2025, very good, a red above the blue, both pointing up. But since 2 months back, you can see the red and the blue line, they are kind of like sideways. Well, the red is below the blue, right? But you can see both of them are pointing sideways. So not really like a downtrend in the longer term, a bit more sideways because we have sold off from June, July, all the way to like December, right? So longer term trend is sideways. Let's take a look at the short term trend, right? Just let me know, type in the chat, guys. What do you guys think about the short-term trend for Visa? Short-term trend for Visa. Is it up or down? U for up, D for down, right? Just help me out, right? What do you guys think about the short-term trend for Visa? Type in the chat, let me know. U for up, D for down. Let's see. Victor, up. Acer Best, up as well. All right, up. ABC, say flat. Vincent, up. Okay, Colleen, up. Okay, very good. So most of you are saying it's up, right? Very good. Well, I would say that the short-term trend is still up for now. All right, a team can remove the panel, right? Okay, so you can see right now that the green line right over here is pointing up. I mean, it's not been pointing up since like yesterday. In fact, since like last week, since like 11th of December, the green 20 days moving average line that was like sloping down. In fact, like I would say since like June, right? It was like down, then up a bit, then down, then up a bit, then down, up a bit, down, right? So generally down since June or July, okay? Last year. Now it's 2026, so it must change a bit. Now it's 2026, right? Last year is 2025 already, okay? I'm trying to get used to it as well, okay? But you can see that over the past 1 month, since December last month, right? The green 20 days moving average line that was going down has started to turn up, right over here. Does it make sense, about? All right. So that is where I would say that we have seen the green 20 days moving average line that represents the short-term trend turning up. So the short-term trend, I would say the green line is still turning up. So short-term trend still positive for now, right? If we are above the green line pointing up, still not too bad. So there could be more upside, right? So we got a green 1GT bullish signal, the green 20 days moving average line still pointing up. So there could still be more upside, I would say, for Visa, right? So back to your question, right? Do you think my target of 400 is realistic? I think it's realistic, right? But maybe before 400, what could be where some selling can come back again? So take note of this resistance right over here. I think we were right over here somewhere around that let's just put about 375. I think right over here, you can see that was where we were over here in like June, right before the sell down, before the bearish signal, right over here, 370 to 375. So I think potential selling can come back anything from near 370 to 375. All right, John. So if you want to take some profit near there, that's fine as well. Of course, if the 370 to 375 gives way, well, your target at $400 could be realistic as well. But step by step, we're going to get through the 375 resistance right now, right? Let's take a look at what would be the potential support level. I think potential support level would be maybe around that 350, all right, 350. That was where we consolidated below it for a while. In December, we broke it, and now we're still kind of like above 350. In fact, we're right above 350, right? So if you can stay above 350, still okay. Maybe a potential upside all the way to that 370 to 375 target. All right, Ken, that is for Visa. So very good that you have a stop loss there to protect your profits as it moves even higher. Okay, now let me pass on the mic to Bervin to cover the next US stock. Bervin, go ahead, all yours.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, let's see who will be the first stock that I'll cover. Okay, let's go. This one. All right, Christina. Hi, Christina. Good morning. Happy 2026. Vertiv thinking of buying. What is a good entry price? Thank you. All right, let's see. Let me just throw my screen up. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we have Vertiv Holdings. I think the stock code is VRT. All right, so I think Vertiv Holdings right now, I think if you look past 2025, since the start of 2025, there's a little bit of up and down for Vertiv for sure. I think if we look just early in 2025, from right around here to today, the gain is actually not too much. It's about 40%, but still not too bad. All right, so due to that previous sell down in April of 2025 and then that recovery, I think a lot of people are actually looking into Vertiv as well. But if we just focus on the trend, all right, Christina, we just focus on the trend. What does the longer term trend say right now? I think the longer term trend for now, it definitely looks like it's still pointing up, right? It's still definitely still pointing up. But we can see that there is nearer term weakness backed up by that 20 days moving average. That green line, is currently still pointing down. I mean, occasionally it's moved a little bit sideways, but in the general sense, we still see it pointing down. So that's not a good sign. So that means, sellers have been pretty much in control in the nearer term. However, in the longer term, buyers are still in control. All right, so that's a mixed signal that maybe we want to take a little bit of a back seat. If you are currently holding on to some positions, you want to think about stop loss plans. But if you're thinking of buying, do not think that you should rush to buy. Just because it was cheaper than what it was in December, in October, because right now we still see that this area, this buy zone area, let's change this to green now. This buy zone area between 150 and about 155, like that is still currently being tested consistently. I mean, over the past 2 months, it had been tested consistently. All right, and then the resistance of 180 is still holding up at this point. And we are trading, or the prices closed at 162 last year, right? 162 last year. So you're in a little bit of a no man's land. You're right in between, right smack in the center of 180 and about 150, like that. So if you're talking about a little bit of upside to 180, you don't have sufficient upside, but your downside is also quite extended if prices fall below that 150 level. And especially with that 20 days moving average or that nearer term selling pressure are still present, I would think that would you be okay? Would you be okay? Think about this. If you are okay to buy at a little bit more expensive price, all right? So you'll be buying a little bit more expensive. Let's see if prices are indeed able to rebound from that 100 days moving average. Then start to head up higher towards that above that 180, that breakout above that 180. Even I myself have some alerts being set up above 180, above 200 as well, to just get myself known that the prices are back, or the buyers are back in the nearer term. All right, in the nearer term especially. Look at that. We also have a 1 GT bearish signal. Right, so typically when you see a 1 GT bearish signal, do not want to rush in to buy. It's better to wait for a little bit more confirmation with the 1 GT bullish signal coming right in. So I think right now we are still in a little bit of a consolidation phase. I would say if you were looking for entry, wait for that confirmation that the 20 days moving average has started to point up. Prices are trading above that, maybe that 180 level, finding that support once again, and then that upside towards that 200 level could be possible. And then if that 200 level, of course, breaks above, then we can talk about a further upside, maybe even towards that 220 level. All right, so I think right now, if I were to turn on this trailing support and resistance, all right, so the 1 GTV indicator comes with the trailing support and resistance, or what does it do? All right, so if you guys are the first time here, you will see that that trailing support typically follows the prices up. Why I say typically is because in periods of consolidation, the trailing support will just move sideways lah. So likewise for the trailing resistance, when you have a 1 GT bearish signal, we have that trailing resistance coming in. If you have that 1 GT Pro indicator with you, can turn it on and of course take a look as well. we want prices to break above that trailing resistance. That's a sign of strength. All right, but there is a gap. There is a gap between the price and the trailing resistance. So the price has to play a little bit of a catch up. You have to have buyers present, you have to have strength present in order to break a resistance. All right, so with prices currently still trading under that trailing resistance, and you can see it's just moving sideways for a little bit. It means prices are in a consolidation phase, or at least a temporary consolidation phase. So just hold up a little bit, Christina. Just hold up for a little bit. Do not rush. Right? Set up some alerts above the 180 level. Some alerts maybe perhaps close to that 150 level as well. Because I mean, this is a counter that you have on your watch list. You do not want to see a second 1GT bearish signal. I mean, that just further confirms that selling pressure is still present, and then the 20 days moving average might have even crossed below that 100 days moving average already. All right, so you're looking for entry above that 180 level, and I think if you are going to take a position above that 180 level, definitely think about where would you like to place your stop loss, right? And that stop loss would then be under that 180 level, because it would then be a new support. All right, so I think that is for Vertiv Holdings. Hopefully that gives you a little bit more clarity about where it could be potentially heading. Either way, it is a wait first. All right, Christina. All right, so now I'll pass the time to Jia to actually cover the next requested stock for you guys. Jia.
All right, thank you, Bhavin. So now I'll be covering. Just give me a second. Yeah, I'll be covering on Jess one. I think she mentioned that you bought C at the highest price, USD 349. Should you keep or sell? Okay, just give me a second. Okay, I think you guys should be able to see my chart now. Okay, you said that you bought at 349 at the highest price, so I believe you might have bought it around this period where actually the highest was about 360. I think this counter was quite popular back, in the COVID period, back in 2020 and 2021. I think it was quite a hot stock that people was talking about. It went up quite high, but afterwards, back in 2021, after October, November, it has been coming down. There's so many 1GT bearish signal. So I believe you could have bought it around this period. So if you just look at the current trend for this chart, for this counter, actually it looks like, previously back in 2024, 2025, there was some buying strength again. There was more interest on this counter again. It went up to around the 200 resistance level. But currently, if you see the 20 days moving average, it's actually pointing down. The 100 days is also pointing down. And also the 200 days is actually trading sideways and also starting to point down as well. And especially, there's also two 1GT bearish signal. So I would say, if you bought it previously and you have been holding since 2021, it's actually more than about 3-4 years. You could actually use these funds that you have to maybe buy other stocks. The funds should have been locked up for quite a long period of time. So I would say, based on the chart wise, currently there's some support near this 120 support level. Then I would say there's some resistance near the 160, which is near the 100 days moving average. But both based on the moving average, actually showing weakness. So I would say for now, the key support level that you want to look at would be actually near the 120 level, which actually is a key support level, which previously broken in 2025 around Feb. But if prices were to break below this level, you might see more weakness, maybe back to that 80 or maybe that 100 first, which is a psychological support level. Okay, just let me change to a green. If it's not able to stay above this 100, there might be more weakness to even the 80 support level. So I would say for now, you should have a stop loss plan when you actually first bought the counter. But if prices will continue to show weakness, breaking the 120 support level, you might want to actually have some stop loss plan in mind. Yeah, hope that answers your question, Jess. Yeah, if not, I'll pass my time back to Joey.
All right, thank you so much, Jai. Right, so very good, right? You can see that. I think what Jai has mentioned that when we have a couple of bearish signals, then you probably don't want to just hold on to the counter blindly, because I mean, if you get a bearish signal and then there's some other confirmations that is going down, and you hold on to it, it's go down and down and down, and you hold, or worse, you can buy some more, then go down some more, right? So we try not to do that. All right. So let me go to cover the next stock, and I think two of you were asking about this stock, right? Let me just go to put it up on the screen and share my screen, and that would be this company called let's see, I think it's Nibius. All right over here. Where is it? Let me just go to pull up right over here. Linda, all right, Linda bought 250 shares of NBIS. I would say Nibius Group at 103.5. Share price has been dropping since October. Should I hold on a long-term basis? Right, long-term basis. So this is Nibius Group. So now it's about $83. I think you got in at about 103, maybe right over here, like in November, somewhere over here, I think, or maybe over here as well. Okay, and I think one of you asking about Nibius as well, right? Your thoughts on NBIS and potential outrun. All right, so yeah, two of you asking about Nibius. So let me just go cover Nibius right now. So very quickly, you can see that this is Nibius, right? What I could do right now is to turn on the 1GT Pro indicator very quickly. As I say, so now we're looking at the blank chart. Of course, we've got the moving averages, right? Green, the red, and the blue line. It gives us an idea, right, of the long-term trend and the short-term trend. But if we want to get a very good confirmation on what to do, right, we always want to turn on the bullish and bearish signals from this indicator that I have, that me and my team are using, called the One Good Trend Pro indicator. All right, so click on it, the first box, and there we go. All right, and well, not too bad. I mean, previously in like May, pump, right? 1GT bullish signal. Fine, go here. I think you're gonna buy then, right? I don't know, it went all the way up, got a bearish signal, 321% in like about 5-6 months. I'm not too bad. So if you ask me in May, June, July, I think go ahead, no problem. Got not one and 3 bullish signals. All right, the long-term trend was okay, maybe turning up. The short-term trend turned up already, very strong rally. All right, but if you take a look at it over the past 2 months since October, where we got the first 1GT bearish signal actually appearing, right? If you take a look at the green line, so the green line we want it to point up. If the green line points up, the short-term trend is up. That will be another confirmation of more upside in the short term. You see what I'm saying about? All right. However, if you see a bearish signal come in, it doesn't mean you see a bearish signal means you'll crash. I mean, it just means that there's some heavy selling coming back. You want to take some profit, get out. I mean, 300% is fine, right? Get out, take some profit, reduce your exposure, maybe not want to buy, right? Wait for it to stabilize first, wait for a new bullish signal to come back in, all right? So you see a bearish signal coupled with a few other bearish confirmations, right? So we have a 7-step checklist, as I say, right? So if you want to find out more, you can attend a free webinar, right? Team, just place the link in the chat again, right? We have a webinar next Tuesday before I forget, right? That's where we'll dive a bit more. But if we get a bearish signal plus the green 20 days moving average line pointing down since October, not so good. That will be another confirmation of more selling in the short term. Does it make sense? All right. So I think Linda, by right, if you see a bearish signal plus green line pointing out, should not buy, right? Because I mean, you got in, maybe you did not see the signal, but you got in around here, right? Probably wouldn't want to buy. You can see that it started to hit down even more. All right. So first thing first, we wouldn't want to buy if we see bearish signals plus short-term trend is down and what, right? We don't want to buy. We want to wait for that reversal confirmation to come back in, like over here, if you see this, okay, fine, go ahead, right? But now you haven't come back yet, right? And over the past 2 weeks, we got another bearish signal left. Does it make sense? All right, and the green line, let me just zoom in for you, whether up or down. I think still down, right? So the green line is still kind of like pointing down. So we are not yet out of the woods. We could potentially see a bit more selling in the short term. So what could become like the support levels? Hopefully, whereby some buying pressure can come back. Hopefully, we stabilize around there. While potential support could be anywhere from 60, maybe all the way to that 75. You can see that was pretty much where we were right over here. So you can see resistance here. We broke that 60. Consolidated from 60 to 75. This is the range. So that could become like this support whereby hopefully some bargain hunting come back. All right. So, but doesn't mean you hit to the support means you buy, right? Because as I say, a support is where we have rebounded previously. Well, good. That's where some potential buying pressure can happen, right? But doesn't mean we hit there and we buy. Why? Because we hit there, and if we see a bullish signal, like for example, let's say we hit there, and then the green line is going down, it starts to flatten out. It never go down some more, right? It starts to kind of flatten out like this, right? Maybe flatten out over here, or maybe over here, it flatten out, and maybe start to point up, or maybe start to point up, and we see a new bullish signal. Like take this and then you copy and then you paste over here, right? A bullish signal. That would be a confirmation of a reversal, and that's where you can get back into, right? The reversal, right? But if it hasn't happened yet, and then you hit the support and you just go and buy because you think it will rebound, right? Well, that's where you might get stuck. That's where there could be a potential that the support might break down. You see what I'm saying, Sofi? All right. So we don't want to buy just because it hits the support. We want to buy when we get confirmations to get back in. Does it make sense? All right. So let's go back to your question, right, Linda? I hope I've given you a quick idea of what you could have done better, all right? And maybe, like it's been dropping, which is correct. Should you hold on a long-term basis? So I think it really depends, right? The thing is that by right, even for long-term basis, if we get like a bearish signal, normally you reduce some exposure, get out, all right? The only thing good about this company, what I would say, is that the longer-term trend is still up, right? What do I mean? Well, you can take a look at the red line, the 100 days moving average, the red line, and the blue line. So red is pointing up, blue pointing up, red is above the blue. So long-term trend, no problem. Okay one, all right, in the next like 6 months to a year, as of today, it still looks okay. But in the short term, it's not so good. It's still down, right? So for us, what we want to do is that even though the long term's up, we want to wait for both of them to be up. Then we ride it, right? What for one up, one down, then you get stuck, and then you go down, and you stuck, right? So normally we will get out first, even though it's for the long term, we'll get out. Like for example, if you got out near like 110, or okay, I mean you got in later, right? But imagine if you got in over here, you wrote 300%, you get out, take your profit, you wait to get back in again when both the longer term trend and the short term trend is up. That is where, right, you will not, be wiping out your profits, right? You get out, free up the cash, go into other companies, get back in again when this company wakes up, when there are signs of a reversal for this Nibius Group. You see what I'm saying so far? All right, so that is for Nibius Group. I hope that helps, Linda. All right, so let me pass on the mic to Bervin to cover the next US stock.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so Joey speak about waiting for a reversal. I think this is the best next stock to talk about. So, Edward, hi. Good morning to you. All right, so you are looking to buy MRK, Merck and Company at 105 watt price. Should I buy now or wait for a lower price? All right, so very, very similar to like Nibius that Joey just talked about. Basically, what he was talking about was something like in this space where prices were consistently coming down lower and lower and lower. You see multiple 1GT bearish signals coming right in, supports not being able to hold, sellers taking control. And then he said, wait for that confirmation, right? Wait for that confirmation where buyers are coming back in. All right, wait for that confirmation. And what confirmations did he mention to look for? All right, that longer term moving average crossing above each other once again, the red line crossing above the blue line, and then the green line, of course, with nearer term buying interest coming back in, it will start to point up. And ideally, we want to see the green above the red, above the blue. All right, so in this case, for Merck and Company or MRK, this is indeed a reversal. But obviously, would it be cheaper to buy here at $80 rather than, like what Edward say, to buy at 105? Yes, definitely it's cheaper to buy at $80. But at that point of time, there were no confirmations of any reversal. So what I think Edward have here is, I think, a very, very, very good mentality. He has obviously saw that the longer term trend have shifted up. The shorter term trend have also taken a turn for the better. And right now, it looked to be holding above a support. I mean, we see selling, a little bit of selling coming in for the past the last 3 days. But in a general sense, yes, buying interest is currently present. All right, so where could we potentially find the next resistance? All right, so if everyone wants to buy at 105, all right, so let me extend this line for a little bit right here. All right, so we obviously see that buyers have came in at about 96. Just extend it out a little bit. All right, previously this was a resistance. All right, right here in January of last year, prices not able to break above it, saw a gap down, started to head down lower. Right now, buyers have indeed come back and turned their resistance into a support. Right, so let me just do a little bit of a projection. Edward, let me just do it like that. Let's just bring it up. All right, so perhaps we may see from that 104 to 105 support level upward to that 112 level. Could that be a potential resistance where sellers once again come in for some profit taking, because there could be somebody that already bought at 96, right? And they're looking to sell as well. So this is completely normal. Let me just see right here. Okay, I would say that, yep, maybe that 112 level, or maybe even upward to about 113 or 114, 112 to 113. That could be a potential sell zone. So we have a buy zone, right? Obviously, we have a buy zone right here near that support level 104 to 105. All right, but we can also have a sell zone. All right, a sell zone close to that 112 to maybe about 113, 114. That is where sellers would like to come in. All right, so well, I think right now, if you're looking, should you buy now or wait for a lower price? Lower price, if you are waiting for a lower price, that could represent that immediate or that temporary support 104, 105 could already be broken. But that's not a good sign. We do not want to buy when a support is being broken, because why? That will mean that prices will be trading very, very close to a resistance as well, because the support will have turned into a resistance. Right? So I think right now, this could be a potential level that you are actually watching for some bargain hunting to come in, which is good as well. I think we want to wait for, if you want to wait for more confirmation, that's fine as well. There could be other confirmations like, the volume, is there any bullish candlesticks that show up? But that's the whole 1GT framework that we don't have the time to actually cover today. So if you'd like to find out a little bit more about that, I think just attend Joey's webinar coming up, I think on the 6th of January. I think Jai, can help me place the link in the chat one more time? All right, so where we go right here, I think from the current price of about 105 is represented about another 6 to 7% upside towards the nearest resistance. So that's not too bad, because why? If that support is being broken, your downside, I would say, if you place a stop loss, maybe about 1 to 2% below 105, the downside is only 2%. So the reward to risk ratio looks pretty good. And what looks really good. So I think if you are considering to get in here and you see that longer term trend continue to reverse and starts to hit a little bit higher, right? Then that's where you want to turn on your trailing support and resistance. Oh, let me just turn it on right there. Okay, that trailing support is right around that 98. So if prices confirm or continue its uptrend, then this trailing support will then start to hit higher and higher. That's when you start to use that trailing support as a reference for your stop loss level. All right, there's nothing wrong, just to say, there's nothing wrong to go and sell some shares or take some profit close to that 112 level. Nothing wrong to do that as well. Why? It's because you never know when prices going to retrace. Prices could retrace like this, right? Early in December, this happened. It could retrace and then rebound as well. Nothing wrong to get in again when prices pull back, right? So you can take some profits here. I'm not saying all, maybe half, 1/3. Get out for a little bit first, but if prices continue to extend, at least you have continued exposure with your downside still being protected. So I think you're in a very, very good position to monitor Merck and company, and just see whether you can get an entry close to the 105 level. Mark your levels and have a stop loss plan, has a trading plan as well. What happens if prices come down? What happens if prices go up? And I think you're good to go, Edward. All right, so that is for Merck and company. I'll pass the time now to Jai to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you, Bervin. So, okay, next stock that I'll be covering will be on Emily's one. Hopefully, you're still here. Okay, I think you mentioned that you bought Path at I think you said 16.91, and you want to sell at 19.50. Okay, just give me a second. All right. So I think for path-wise, no, just based on the chart, actually we see that no, the 100 days and 200 days moving average is actually pointing up. So it's actually a good indicator that the stock based on the long-term wise is actually uptrending. And if you see at the green color line, which is the 20 days moving average, is actually also pointing up, which indicate that short-term wise, the counter is also showing strong momentum short-term. So I would say based on what I draw, the support is around this 16 support level, and previously actually hit a high of around close to $20, which is also near a $20 psychological resistance level. So you mentioned that you bought a path at 16.91, which actually is near a support level. So that's a good indicator that you actually bought near a support and you are planning to sell near a resistance, not exactly at 20, but slightly lower than 20, which is 19.50. So that's a good trading plan. If you open the trailing support, you can also see that previously this counter actually broke above that 16 resistance level, turning to a new support, and there was a 1 GT bullish signal that actually appeared. So you can see that based on the chart wise, there's a trailing support which is near the 15.65, near the 16 support level, especially the prices are staying above this level as for now. So it's good that you actually enter near the support and you have a target price to hit. So I think for you, just to take note, if prices were to break below this 16 support level and actually continue to show some weakness, maybe below, go back to below around, next support might be around, there's a temporary support of around $14. You might want to have some stop loss plan in mind. So, but for now, you entered near the support level. You can actually continue to hold, see how the price movement for this counter is. But you might want to have some alerts, maybe if prices were to break below this 16 key support level, just in case you are not there to monitor. So once you get alerted, you'll be able to look at how the chart is. Then maybe by then you might want to have a stop loss plan in mind as well. Yeah, if not, I think that's all for UiPath. I'll pass on my time back to Joey.
All right, thank you so much, Jai. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, I think so far doing so well. All right, I think we've covered a total of about six US stocks already. Let's move on to the seventh one. Okay, let's go. Right, so I think a few of you were asking about this stock. So this stock, let me just go to share my screen, and that would be on Meta Platforms. The code META. Let me just go pull out who is the one asking about Meta. Let me just check. I think we have. Let's see, I think Tammy see, right? How about Meta? All right, can buy more. All right, can buy more. Is it a good time to buy, or should you wait? Maybe you should not buy, should sell. All right, let's take a look at it later. I think one more of you asking about Meta as well. Who is that asking about Meta? I think we have let me pull. I can't really find the comment. We have where is it? Meta, right? 664 corrected. Potential upside for Meta. Have bought at $600, right? So can it be more upside for Meta, right? You bought at about $600, now it's $660, not too bad, make a little bit of money, all right? So let's talk about Meta right now. So you can see for Meta, right? I'll not go too far, but since like last year, maybe since 2024, we got a couple of 1 GT bullish signals. Very strong, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up. And we got a bearish signal coming out, 47% gain, all right, in about 6 months. A bearish signal came out in February 2025, this last year. Sorry, trying to get used to it. So 2025 is last year. So came out in February 2025, 1, 2, 3, and then we start going down, right? So I say when we see a bearish signal, normally we don't want to buy. We want to get out, right? Wait for some stability, wait for maybe a new 1 GT bullish signal, wait for the green line to also turn up. Then we get back in. Does it make sense? Rather than you buy, then go down, then buy, then go down, then you're kind of stuck. Right? So we don't want to do that, right? Wait for a bullish signal, we get back in, and there we go. How many percent again? 36%, a bit lesser than the other one, right? 36%. We get a bearish signal, we take some profit, 36%, okay, right? Get out, right? So we got a bearish signal, right? And that was in like October, whereby we saw some selling in the technology sector as well, came down, right, from 760 Meta, so all the way to about 600. Okay, and you got in at 600, not too bad, right? Pretty good entry because it stabilized around the 600. There was a very good support, a psychological support level. But the key here is that finally, over the past month, all right, well, we actually got a new one GT bullish signal. It's something like this, right? I mean, previously you also got pump 1, 2, 3, 3 bearish, and all the way down. Then we got the bullish signal, and then all the way up. Does it make sense, Mom? All right. And then same thing, we got 3 bearish signal. All right, and it starts coming down. Right, and then we got the first 1 GT bullish signal. All right, so I don't know whether it'll be like, down, and pump bullish signal, all the way up. I don't know whether you can take this and then you can, like, paste it over here lah. But you guys can see, like, maybe, right? It looks a bit like, we got bearish signal, it starts coming down, and then now we got a bullish signal. Maybe you can take and put over here. Seems like there could be a potential recovery lah. Does it make sense, Bob? Right? Because finally we got a confirmation whereby a 1 GT bullish signal appeared, just like what has happened in May, right? After this sell down, right? In February, March, and April, right? Last year. So now we got a 1 GT bullish signal. Let's take a look at the green line. Did the green line also point up? Well, the green line that was going down, also started to point up. I think now still pointing up as another confirmation. So not too bad. Not too bad. It could be something like what we've seen since like May 2025, whereby it could be the start of a reversal. Now, let's go back to your question, right? Potential upside for Meta. I think not too bad. I think right now, maybe we could see a bit of a support coming in right over here around that 640. 640 is a horizontal support. Seems like that's where some bargain hunting have came back over the past 2-3 weeks already. Resistance level can, maybe draw it for you to see where some heavy selling can come back would be around the $700. Look at this. There was a support, rebounded, but pump, we went through it. In fact, I think like last week, we hit it all the way there, and then sellers came back and pushed it all the way down, right? So I think 700 will be a psychological resistance level, right? So 640 all the way to 700, that is kind of like the near-term range for now. So overall looks good, right? We've got a bullish signal, the recovery is in place, the short-term trend is up, long-term trend may be a bit sideways, right? It takes a while to slowly, gradually turn up. So 700 will be a psychological resistance level. If we can break the 700, I can tell you that that's where potentially we may trigger a new 1 GT bullish signal, right? And that's where targets could be raised all the way to maybe the 800 psychological resistance level. That was where we touched 2 times in August and September. And that's potentially where we may hit to before some selling actually comes back again. Does it make sense, Val? All right. So that is for Meta. I think not too bad, right? I mean, if you ask me in like, October last year or what now, I'll say be careful. You got 3 bearish signal, the green line pointing down, you go and buy for what, right? Or if you ask me over here, I think be careful. But when we get a bullish signal, we get some other confirmations, all right? Pointing towards a reversal, pointing towards more upside. I think that's where we call it a high conviction trade setup. I think this could be poised to potentially trade even higher. I think if the 700 gives way, that would be another even stronger confirmation of more upside. You see what I'm saying, Saban? All right, so that is Meta Platforms. All right, thanks for asking, Andrew. I hope that helps. So what you want to do is to continue riding, take some profit if you want near the resistance at 700 or 800, up to you. All right, and I hope that helps. Okay, so let me pass on the mic to Bervin to cover the next stock. Bervin, yours.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, let's go on quickly. Next stock. Okay, SFR asking about GLD dropped a bit this week. All right, so I think the last 3 days of 2025, the precious metals saw a little bit of weakness. Let me just throw my screen up right there. All right, so for GLD, nonetheless, precious metal, it had also seen a little bit of pullback after that last rally towards its resistance of about 420 as of now. All right, so we can see that the 20 days moving average previously, the gradient was quite steep. You actually saw that it was moving up very, very quickly. And then now it had started to flatten out a little bit already. And furthermore, we have that $400 previously was a support, now turned into a resistance. So that psychological level of 400 SFRS has just been broken. You can see from the last, second last and the third last candlestick, each time, all right, on both days, as prices tried to open back above that 400 support, I tried to recapture that $400 support. Sellers within that day started to push prices down again. All right, push prices, open higher, push prices lower, open higher, push prices lower. And even on the last day, it tried to push back towards that $400 level. Not quite able to. So right now we are capped under that psychological $400 resistance already. All right, so I'm not too sure what is your plan. If you are currently holding on to some GLD shares, nothing wrong. You may have already be sitting on some profit. Nothing wrong to invoke like a stop limit order to actually protect those profits that you already have. All right, but if you're looking to buy, I think what you want to actually look out for would be a little bit of a stabilization or some consolidation. Firstly, under that $400 level. All right, just to firm up that this level is a key level where sellers want to take part in selling, but buyers not really keen in buying just yet. Or you can also monitor if there is any breakout. All right, a firm breakout and prices are able to hold above that $400 psychological level once again. So unlike the last 3 days, prices try to break above that 400 level, not able to. You want to see prices being able to hold close above that 400 level. I think that's the first good sign that the buying interest could come back, or that bargain hunting could come back close to that 400 level as well. But in the longer term, I would say I would agree that GLD or gold is still in a longer term uptrend. Just observing a little bit of nearer term weakness. So doesn't mean that break 400 you must immediately buy. Why? That downside potential, if the selling pressure continues, especially in the start of 2026, could see prices hit back to that 360 level. So that's definitely not what you want. So that is why if you are currently holding on to some GLD, you can consider using the stop limit order, protect some of those profit that you already currently have. All right. Or if you're looking to accumulate on the dips, the 360 level could be one that you're looking out for as well. But I would say generally that would not be a good sign, because if prices were to head back to the 360 level, the 20 days moving average would definitely already be heading down. All right, so that is just purely doing analysis based on the chart. But if you just turn on that trailing support and resistance and that buy and sell signal on the chart, I think you can. I think it's lagging for a little bit. Okay, here we go. We can see that there is a 1GT bearish signal that have actually came in already. All right, just 2 days ago on the 31st of December, it ended with a 1GT bearish signal. So that further symbolizes or signals that nearer term selling pressure could be present. Right, that trailing support was broken. Now the trailing resistance is very close to that 420 level. All right, so I think to recapture that shorter term strength, a break above 420 is also one that I think many people would be looking out for as well. All right, so I think that is a very, very quick one for GLD. Hopefully, we are able to see the support, the $400 support being captured once again. All right, so now I'll pass the time to Choy to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you, Bervin, for the quick analysis. Next one I'll be covering will be on Kanav one. So I think you were asking about AMD 150 and holding after it reaches peak. Prices came down. So should you now sell, hold, or add more? Okay, just let us look at this counter. So if you previously bought near the 150, I think that was back in September. I think that was near the support level, which is a good entry level. And if you were to just look at a quick one from now to maybe the current price, you're actually up around 40%. So I think it's quite a good price that you should enter for this counter, but no, you're thinking whether to sell, hold, or even add more. It actually depends on how much you actually bought and how much funds you have as well. But let's just look at the chart wise. Based on the chart, the 20 days is actually trading a bit sideways. Now you can see that the price is actually consolidating around that 200 support level and also near that 220 resistance level. So it's actually trading a bit of sideways. That's why you see that the green line is actually moving flat, it's actually moving sideways. But the 200 days moving average and also the 100 days moving average is still pointing up. It means that actually the counter is still showing long-term and mid-term strength. So if you're looking to actually to sell, nothing wrong with to sell to secure some profit. But things to take note is when prices continue to show some weakness, because short-term wise is actually trading sideways. But if prices were to break below this 200 support level, you might see more mid-term weakness coming in, and you might continue to go down to maybe back to your 150 support level. So I always tell clients or tell people that it's best to secure profit. If you don't secure a profit and you just let it leave it there and it goes back to your your purchase price, it means that you didn't make any profit at all. So nothing to sell some shares to secure the profit. If we were to open the trading support, you can also see that prices are actually near that trailing resistance of around the 220 to maybe around at 230. So if prices were able to break above that 220 to 230 level and continue to go up back to the resistance of 270, you might see some bullish signal coming in as well. So maybe the next target that you might want to just secure some profit might be near that 270 resistance level. But for now, it depends on trading plan. If you plan to sell some just to secure profit, nothing wrong with that. Or if you plan to hold and hope that prices break above that 220 resistance level and continue to show more strength, also work as well. So it actually will depends on your trading plan. Yep. Hope that answers your questions, Kunan. If not, I'll pass my time back to Joey.
All right, thank you so much, Jia. All right, let's move on to the next US stock. Okay, I think that's asked by Melina. So guys, you can see that now we have quite a lot of chat messages asking about many different stocks. I think there's like more than 30, 40, 50 over stocks. I did a quick count. All right, so we try our best, but apologies if we cannot cover all the US stocks. All right. Hopefully, if you want to, as I say, you want to learn a bit more about the entire strategy, you can attend a free webinar next Tuesday, the very first one of 2026. And that's where I look forward to share with you and break it all down for you even more. Maybe you could even have access to the very same tools that all of us are using to analyze your stock as well. All right, so you can even do it yourself. Cool. All right, so the link is right in the chat. Click on it, register for this free webinar, the very first one for next for 2026. And that is where I come with to share with you guys a little bit more. Right now, let's take like the next one, right, which is this company right over here, and it's Alphabet. All right, Alphabet, Google, Alphabet. I think that's asked by Melina. I'm considering buying either Google or Microsoft. I have no positions. Thank you so much for giving us a bit of context. Google Alphabet has gone up almost 60%. Well, let's find out. I think in 2025, definitely a very strong rally. Does it still have leaks? Or would Microsoft have more upside? So maybe I'll just cover one of it, like Google. All right, maybe my team could cover on Microsoft next and we compare it. All right, but let's take a look at Alphabet, Google right now. So indeed, right, very strong rally since 2025. One of the top performing stocks, I would say, in the US market. I mean, it wasn't always so good. I mean, look at this in like beginning of 2025, where we got a bearish 1 GT signal. So as I say, what happens is that on any stocks, that what we've been doing is that we can turn on the 1 GT Pro indicator, right? Whereby in a matter of seconds, you get buy and sell signals, all right, to guide you whether to buy or to sell. Does it make sense, Mom? All right, if you see a bearish signal, then of course, just wait first lah, be more patient, right? Why you're going to buy, right? But if you see a bullish signal plus a few other positive things, right, and you want to buy, right, then I think you get more confidence lah. Does it make sense? All right, so that's what we do, right? So we turn it on, and you can see that for Microsoft, well, we have been alerted a couple of times for Alphabet, right? For Alphabet, Google, right over here. So we got bearish signal right over here, right? So that could guide us to get out, to take some profit, all right? You can see it was like about 200. It went all the way down to like 150, yeah? All right, that was in February, March 2025, last year. Okay, when we had tariffs and all the stuff by Trump, right? In April, we kind of like bottom out. Patient, right? So it went down not 1-2 weeks for like 2-3 months there. And right over here, somewhere in May, we got a 1 GT bullish signal, to be exact, 2nd of May last year. All right. And a second, so the first 1 GT bullish signal appeared. The second 1 GT bullish signal appeared on the 25th August, and then it got even faster. Does it make sense? All right. So my question is very simple. Is there any like red color, bearish signal coming out like over the past few days or past 1 month. Don't have one, right? So I think so far it still looks pretty bullish. All right. So what you can see is that, I mean, from the very first bullish signal since 2nd of May all the way to now 99, in fact, not 60%, I think 99%. All right. In about 7 months, right? Pretty impressive, right? One of the top performing stocks, I would say, in the US market, very strong. There is still no bearish signal, so I think it still looks quite okay. There could still be more legs to the rally, especially if a very key resistance level gives way, right? What level is that? I'll come to that in a bit, right? But right now, what I want to show you guys is that from the 1GT Pro indicator, right? Like one of my team actually turned on would be the trailing support and resistance level, right? So let me just turn it on. You can see that this trailing support and resistance is a very powerful feature that just gives us an added confirmation, all right, from that bullish signal. So you can see, right, once we got the bullish signal appearing in May, 2nd of May, right, a trailing support pops up. So I've just turned it on. Of course, then it came out, right? I mean, I can like, off it and then like on it, off it, on it, right? That kind of thing, right? So let's turn it on. Let me explain to you, all right? And you see that we got a trailing support popping up, and this trailing support followed Alphabet, right, as it moved higher, right? So as it moves up, it follow it, right? Don't follow too closely. You give it the space to breathe. It accounts for the volatility of a stock. So as long as you stay above the trailing support, right, still okay, right? Even though it's 60% or 99% or 100% or 200%, doesn't matter. As long as you're above the trailing support that accounts for the space it needs to move up to breathe, we are still fine. Look at this, right? So we neared it, went up even more. We neared it somewhere in October, we went up even more. Right? So actually every time we neared it, right over here, right over here, right over here, it could be actually an opportunity to get back in on dips, right? And actually that's a part of the framework on the entire one good trend strategy. As I said, I don't have time to cover everything, but that's one of the another checklist that we look at as well, right? To time our entry to get back in near the trailing support level, right? So right now you see that obviously we are still above the trailing support level, in fact a bit far because there's space given, right? There's space given, from the price to the trailing support. So trailing support is around the $290. So anything above that 290, I think we still look bullish. There could still be more upside, even though it's 99%. Right? Some people might say, but Joey, it's 99%, you sure not? Right? I mean, yeah, but to be honest, when it was about like here in September, when it was like about 70%, people also say very expensive. Right? Joey, 70% is a lot already. Now become 99. Makes sense, right? I don't know, next month it become 120, 150, then you might say also very expensive, right? So, there's no such thing as so expensive or it's too much or it goes too high already or what. As long as there's no confirmation that is weak, if you tell me you see a bearish signal, then plus the green line pointing down, and we go below the trailing support, then fine, okay, get out. But so far, I think it still looks okay. As long as we stay above the trailing support level. In fact, there would be a horizontal support level right over here, maybe around that 300. I think 300 would be a horizontal support. That's where we saw a bit of a rebound right over here. That's about 2 weeks back. 300 all the way to $330. So that's the range, right? Not even 290. I think 300 to 330. We are starting to see some bargain hunting come back. So it's just kind of like resting for now. You can see the green line was flat, right? That was in September. It was flat as it rested, consolidated sideways, flat, turn up, flat. Now it's starting to flat. So now it's like going back to the October whereby it's resting for a while. Does that make sense? Which is okay. I like to see it rest for a while, maybe like 1 month, 2 months, right? Rest for a while before attempting to break the resistance at 330 to potentially push higher. And when that happens, we may even trigger a new 1GT bullish signal that could lead the next upside target, right? Target could be then revised, maybe all the way up to 360. That could be the next resistance after $330. All right, so this is Alphabet, right? So back to the question, right? I think that overall, even though it's gone up by quite a fair bit in 2025, one of the top performing stocks, but in 2026, as long as you don't get any bearish signal, everything still looks good. You can continue riding this stock with a stop loss in play, with a plan in play, right, to protect your profits as you ride it even further. And that's what we're doing as well. All right, so let me pass on the mic to Bervin, right, to cover the next US stock. Bervin?
All right, thanks, Joey. Actually, I would like to just stay there because I think Joey said talk about Google, so I think he was comparing it to Microsoft. So maybe I will just complete the circle and talk about Microsoft there. All right, so here we go. Okay, so remember what Google looks like. Okay, so this is Microsoft comparing Google and Microsoft. Melina was asking which one has more upside. So Joey talked about how the Google went up, 60%, 70%. People are saying it's expensive. Go to 99%, people say, oh, it's even more expensive now. But then the longer term trend, the probability, we always talk about probability game. The probability of something that has momentum in buying rather than momentum in selling is what you actually want to look for. That is what makes up a trend, right? That's what makes up a trend. That's what makes up the market as well. So if we compare Microsoft, all right, we compare Microsoft right now, we can actually see that Microsoft had a consolidation phase. Pretty much a very, very clear consolidation phase right here. Let me just change this to green color, to red color here. All right, it was consolidating between that 500 to that $550 level, about a 10% range. All right, about a 10% range for the better half of 2025. All right, prices hit that $550 level, started to come back down again. Saw a little bit of buyers coming in. 20 days moving average pattern now start to point up. All right, one GT bullish signal came in October. Prices hit higher again, tested the $550 level. Once again, sellers came in. So comparing this to Google, instead of buying pressure building up, breaking above, we have selling pressure coming in, profit taking, pushing prices back down again. All right, so then prices tried to hold above that 500 psychological level. Not able to in November, saw prices break down. We have a bearish crossover of that 20 days moving average below that 100 days moving average, and then another 1 GT bearish signal coming in December. So two 1 GT bullish, a bearish signal comparing to Google, which had multiple 1 GT bullish signal. This one has multiple bearish signal. All right, so this is what we do not want to be caught in. All right, do not want to be caught in that illusion that prices is definitely cheaper than when back then it was in October. So definitely must buy. No, I don't think that should be a mentality that we should bring into 2026. I think we should look out for signs of that reversal happening first before getting in. All right, so right now we are still trading, unfortunately, under that $500 level. Under that $500 level, that sell zone still intact. Buyers have indeed came in twice, right? Very close to that 460 level, right? Rebounding from that 200 days moving average. But does that mean that it will break above $500, opening the upside to $550 now? I don't know. I would not know. I think Joey also would not know. Jia also would not know. I think Z in Japan also would not know that if prices are able to break above 500 next week, next month. But at least for now, we can say, or we can see that the red moving average, the red line right there, is still pointing down. It's definitely not something that we want to rush into to buy. We want to wait for a little bit more confirmation. So just now we talked about setting up price alerts. Right, we talked about setting up price alerts, but now I think what we want to do for Microsoft would be to set up a technical alert. So instead of a price alert, a typical price alert, we can actually set up what we call a buy or sell alert. Right, so just once per bar create. So what does that do? If there are any new 1 GT bullish or bearish signals, we will then be notified. Of course, if you receive another bearish signal, then you'll say, hey, unlucky, never buy. But if you receive a 1 GT bullish signal, I think that is when you could come in to actually look at the chart again. Would that 20 days moving average have started to point up a little bit more steeply? Is that 100 days moving average flattening out already? I think those are the signs, or that's what that alert actually does for us. It gives us that heads up that something is happening on Microsoft, time to come back and look at it again. If you see multiple bearish signals, then I think there's no rush to actually buy. Right? Yes, definitely. The more the stock goes down, the higher the upside. For sure, 0 to infinity and infinity to 0. That's how the math works. But you want to wait for the additional confirmation, Melina. Doesn't mean Microsoft is just cheaper, you immediately buy. I would think in just by looking at it today, based on the 31st December's closing price, I would say that Google has a nicer uptrend, a healthier uptrend. It looks a little bit more beautiful, and it gives me a little bit more conviction compared to Microsoft at this point. Doesn't mean Microsoft is a bad company, the fundamentals have changed. No, it's just the trend right now doesn't justify, rushing in to buy just yet. All right, so I think my pick, if you are asking me which one would I prefer, I think it's Google for now. If you ask me next week when the trend has changed, maybe my answer will be different. All right, so that is what I think for Microsoft. So now I will pass the time to maybe Jai to cover the next stock for us.
All right, thank you, Bervin. So now I'll be covering on TIFI. I think, yeah, talking about Intel, no bought at mid 36, wondering if it will reach 40. Okay. So I think for Intel wise, right, just let me change the resistance. I think just based on the chart wise, it's quite clear, at first glance, something will point out. You can see that actually now the 20 days moving average, the green color line is actually pointing down. So you can see that now it's actually showing some short-term weakness. But if you were to look at the 100 days and the 200 days moving average, it's still pointing up. So actually now the price is actually still above that 35 support level, and currently previously hit the high of 44. We actually have some resistance near that level. So TIFI mentioned bought at mid 36, I believe might be around this period, or previously you might have bought it. So it's actually still near the support level, and you wonder whether you hit 40. So no, I can't tell whether you hit 40 because we will never know how the future is lah. But based on the chart wise, 100 days and 200 days, it's still pointing up. It's still showing a long-term strength. As long as still is able to stay above this 35 support level, we previously hit the 40 and the 44 level. I think it's possible if it continues to show some short-term strength, or maybe even stabilize around this 35 level before going up. You might hit that near that 40 resistance level as well, which is a psychological level. But I would say based on the chart wise, previously it has been actually showing strength and it went up. Prices actually afterwards hit around that 43 to 44 level and came back down, back to the 35 level, and actually went back up back to the 44. So if prices continues to stay above this 35 support level, 40 is possible. But if prices were to break below this 35 support level, you might see more weakness, maybe back to even that 28 psychological support level, which was previously the high back in 2025. So I would say, maybe if you want, hopefully the price will stabilize above the 35, and if there's a 1GT bullish signal that appear, that's even a better indicator that there might be more buying strength as well lah. If prices were to be able to break above the 44, you might see some potential upside to maybe even the 50 psychological resistance level. Yeah. So so that's a quick analysis on Intel. So hopefully that answers your question on how the trend for Intel is. If not, I'll pass my time back to Joey.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Jai. Let's move on to the next one. I think that will be on this company called Sofi. All right, Sofi. I think that comment you've been like, wow, really asking the chat, like cover please, and stuff. Right. So let me just go to cover Sofi right now. All right. I hope that I think your comment is quite big, but thanks for giving us a bit of context. Right. Averaging into Sofi, average up by circumstances, average price is $27 now. So I believe you're holding on to this stock. I think maybe about $27. The price is 26.18 right now. Right, so a bit lower. All right. Looks to continue going long. Can add at this current level. Should be at short-term resistance or sideways trend. Okay, let me just go to cover Sofi right now. Let me just go to just hide your comment because a bit too. Okay, right. Let's take a look at this right now. So you can see that Sofi, I would say the longer-term trend is up. All right, look at the red and blue line. All right, since somewhere around like May or June, we got a couple of a bullish signal. The red go above the green, and we saw a pretty good rally since May 2025 all the way up. We got the first bearish signal, 131%. Not too bad. So we see a bearish signal. We want to be a bit more careful, get out, take some profit, 130%, quite okay, right? But over the past 2-3 months, what it seems like, we got a bearish signal, we got some bullish signals appearing as he attempted to push higher, but a bearish signal have appeared again over the past 1 over months in November, all right? And it seems like we are consolidating sideways. You see what I'm saying, Siobhan? All right. And let's take a look at the green line. You can see that the green 20 days moving average line, right? Well, we want it to be up, right? Why? Because when it's up and the longer term trend is up, it means that the short-term trend and the long-term trends are aligned. They're both pointing up. We want that, right? But if one of them is up and the other one is down, then it's like opposite. It's like, how come one up, one down? You know, it's like, even though the long-term trend is up, the short-term trend is down, whereby we could still see some weakness in the short term. It could be 1 week, could be 2 weeks, could be 1 month, could be 2 months, right? So we don't want to get in. We want to wait for both to be up. Make sense? All right. So let's take a look at the short-term trend for SoFi. So you can see somewhere in May and June are up, then flat, then up. How to see? Look at the green line, the green line pointing up or down, right? So you see up, then up a bit more, then up some more, right? So since May to September, October, it's been up. But if you look at it now, I would say the green line is down. Make sense? All right, I mean, it's like down, not since last week, I think since like November already down, then down a little bit, then down some more, then down a bit, then down some more, right? It looks down. So the short-term trend for Sofi Technology is still down right now. All right. So back to your question, right? You're averaging, that means you're buying more into Sofi. You want to add more at current level. Well, normally we try not to add to a stock until there are some signs of stability, right? Not just in the longer term trend, but also in the short term trend. That means we want the green line to don't point down. I mean, he don't point out, never mind, but at least don't point down. I mean, it can be flat as well, right? Does it make sense? I mean, let's say if the green line starts to stabilize over here, right? It starts to flatten out. Something like this, right? Great. Like over here, you can see, right? The green line was going down, bearish, all the way down there, right? What if now like that, right? The green line down and down, then you see a couple of more bearish signal, right? Then you might be stuck if you get in, right? But if you wait for the green line, like over here, you can see the green line, right? It was going down, flat, right? Haven't point up, flat first, right? Then it started to point up. And then we got another bullish signal. What happened? Make sense, right? But now if you ask me, it's like, we got bearish signal plus the green line pointing down, then you buy, then you're like you're buying over here, Make sense? All right. So we not saying cannot go up, but we try not to get in, because now we got a bearish signal plus the short-term trend is also down. We want to wait for the confirmation to get back in. That comment, you there? All right. I hope you understand as well. Right. So well, what we could do is that, as I say, we could be patient. All right. That means we don't need to force ourselves to buy something. Normally, we only buy when there's a very clear confirmation to buy. All right. If there's something to buy, then don't buy. All right. You can buy other stock. Right. But right now, you can see for this stock, there's just nothing to tell me to buy. All right. What we could look out for would be a bullish signal coming back. The green line, I say, potentially flattening out, potentially turning up. Good. And maybe even a support coming out, maybe around at $24. So $24 would be a support that has been holding since August, right? Rebounded, we near it, rebound, over here, rebound. Last week, near it, rebound. Right now, it's 26. So near 24, 24 point something, 25, around there. That could be where some bargain hunting can come back again. But as I said, it doesn't mean you go there, means you now buy, right? Even though it's a support. But if it's near support, we see the green line turning up, reversing, we see a new bullish signal. Different story. That is where then I would say I'll be more, go ahead. I think that's where you could, start to load up, can add at current level, blah, blah, blah. That's what I'll, probably advise you to do. But right now, that has not appeared yet. So probably be a bit more patient, wait for it to play out, wait for it to show its hand before taking that buy entry position. Does it make sense? All right. So that's for Sofi Technology, right? 24, good support. Hopefully that holds. And just take note, right? Okay, I mean, hopefully that holds, but as I say, if the support were to break down and with the green line continue to point down some more, and then you get another bearish signal, then it's really like the other time already. And then you want to be careful. You want to plan to get out, right? Don't go all the way down. You see what I'm saying, Smart? All right, so that is for Sofi Technology. I hope that helps. All right, attend a free webinar to find out a bit more about the entire framework, the one good trend framework. A link is right in the chat. Okay, let me pass on the mic to Mervin to cover the next stock. Mervin, yours.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so maybe before I cover the next stock, just a recap so we don't repeat the stocks that we have actually covered already. So okay, so I think Joey started off with covering the S&P 500, followed by the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Then the first requested stock was Visa, covered by Joey. Then I covered Vertiv. Then Jai covered C Limited. Joey covered NBIS. All right, and then I covered Merck and Company, followed by Path, and then Meta Platforms, GLD, the ETF, Advanced Micro Devices, AMD, Google, followed by Microsoft, then Intel, and then Joey just covered Sofi Technologies. All right, okay, so the next stock that I think I would cover would be another one that I think saw a lot of growth, I would say, in 2025 would be Palantir. All right, Damien, hopefully you're still here. All right, so okay, let me just change my screen. Okay, all right, so there we go. So Damien, so you have bought Palantir at 198. Okay, 198. Previously, any thoughts on whether it will come back up? Thanks in advance. All right, okay, so let's just see Palantir here. Just get rid of some of the lines. I got a lot of lines on Palantir. Okay. Okay, very quickly, I think we can identify that the key resistance, one of the key resistance will be very close to that 200 to maybe about that 210 level. The psychological level, I think that is where sellers have previously came in multiple times as well. Right, then we have an immediate support. All right, the immediate support right around that 170 level, but we have a larger range of consolidation. We have a larger range of consolidation between the 150 to that $200 level. So that's a 25% range that Palantir has been trading pretty much since July of 2025. All right, finding support at that 150 multiple times. Right, so I think in the nearer term, right, now let's zoom in the nearer term. In the nearer term, what does the trend say? All right, so maybe let's help out Damien here in the chat. If you're in Damien's place, all right, bought previously at 198, looking at the trend now, would you buy some more? All right, maybe type B for buy some more, H, hold, or S, sell immediately. All right, so B for buy, H for hold, S for sell. And maybe let's help out Damien in the chat here and see what do you guys actually think. All right, base says hold, Duck also says hold. All right, ABC say buy. Okay, Catherine says hold. Okay, Jie Jun says hold. Okay, so I think there's a mix, a little bit of a mix, but majority of you guys are saying hold. Actually, I will agree with majority of you guys that currently it looks like a hold rather than buy first. All right, so I think why is it hold? I think currently we see some strength. All right, some strength, although prices are heading down a little bit after testing that $200 psychological level once again. Some selling have indeed came in, but prices are actually very, very close. Very, very close to that 170 level or that 170 support level, right above that 100 days moving average, 20 days moving average is still pointing up. Although it looks like, the gradient not as steep as before already. Right, we may see bargain hunting coming in the nearer term. All right, that temporary support that we have drawn, may see some bargain hunting coming in right there. But I think if it doesn't, if you do not see a buyers coming in once again, then that of course will open the downside towards the 150 level, which is very close to that 200 days moving average as well. All right, so I think right now no 1GT bearish signal just yet. Right, normal fluctuations have happened. Right, normal fluctuations have happened. Prices go up, there's a resistance, come back down closer to the support. Time to see if buyers are coming back in. All right, so if this resistance, or sorry, this support, doesn't hold, then perhaps we may get a 1 GT bearish signal coming right in. All right, so let me just move that line for a little bit. You can see that the trailing support is right where that 170 horizontal support also currently is. All right, so this is a very, very key level to actually watch out for. I think, Damien, you may want to set up some alerts below that 170 level, maybe 166, 167. That's when you want to be alerted, and maybe that's when you have to invoke like a stop limit order, limit order to get out of your position. I think in hindsight, of course, this is in hindsight, you have bought Palantir at 198. So I think the key issue would be actually the entry. Right, the entry, because you actually bought very, very, very close to the resistance. So typically, I don't encourage people to actually buy close to resistance. It's why profit taking could come in. If you're going to be buying very close to a resistance, I would much rather you wait a little bit more, buy when there is a confirmation of a breakout instead, right? Because anyway you're going to be buying very close to a resistance area, you might as well spend a little bit more money, get the additional confirmation instead. All right, so that would actually decrease your downside by quite a little bit as well, because you can better position your stop limit orders to get out if you're buying closer to a support. All right, so I think right now for Palantir, I will agree with you guys that say hold, buy. I think definitely not now, not just yet. Maybe perhaps closer to the support level, closer towards the support level. If we see any bullish candlesticks coming right in, or we see any bullish price actions coming in, maybe can accumulate closer to the support as well. But I think at this price level, a little bit too in the middle of like a no man's land. I do not want to try to position myself to get in right there just yet lah. All right, okay, so that is for Palantir. I think now I will pass the time to Jia Yi to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you, Bervin. Just give me a sec. Okay, the next stock that I'll be covering will be on Moderna. I think June was asking, what about Moderna looking to buy? So I think this chart wise, actually just look at it. Actually, it's quite clean. You can see that actually prices will actually consolidate around this 24 to actually that 30 levels. Back in 2025 April to actually in July, and it actually broke above this 26 resistance level, which turned into a support, and it actually went up to around the 36 level, but came back down to the support of $30, but couldn't stay above, and there was a 1 GT bearish signal that appeared, and it came back down to that key support level of around that 24 level. So actually, if you just look at chart wise, currently, if you look at the 20 days moving average, yes, there's it's showing some short-term strength. There's also a 1 GT bullish signal. But if you look at the long-term strength wise, the 20-day, the 200 days, and also the 100 days, is actually trading sideways, but not really pointing up yet. So if you're looking to buy, I would say just wait for a while more, see whether moving forward, whether the price is able to stay above this 30 support level before showing more strength. But if it's not able to stay above this support level of 30, you might see more weakness as well, going back to back to that 24 key support level. So if prices were to consolidate around that 24 to 30 levels again, you might see that the 100 days and 200 days continue to consolidate and trade sideways. So best would be when prices continue to break above key resistance level. If it is able to break above this 36 level, which previously it wasn't able to break above, that would be good. If it's able to stay above this 36, you might see that the 100 days start to point up, then maybe the 200 days also start to point up. That's when you actually can consider to enter for this stock. But for now, I would say, even though the 20 days moving average is up, but it looks like it's not able to stay above this 30 support level and might go back down to the 24 key support level. So for now, best is to actually, just wait and see and Maybe if you want, you can set some alerts. Maybe when it breaks above these 36 resistance level, you might want to come back in to see whether how's the trend like before entering. So for now, I would say best is to hold. Yep. If not, I'll pass my time back to Joey.
Okay, thank you so much, Jai. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so I think we have covered a total of like 15 US stocks right now. Maybe we can just go one final round. We each choose like one more US stock, and then we move on to the bonus stock session, right? So guys, as I say, today we try our best. We normally cover about 15, maybe about 18 stocks. So we try our best to cover all your stocks. If we really cannot cover, our apologies. All right, hopefully you can join us in the next AMAS live session as well. But make sure you stay all the way to the end, because at the end, right, that's where we'll cover 3 US stocks, one each from each of us that we like, that you can put in your watch list as well. All right, so let me go to share my screen right now and pull out on this stock called Goldman Sachs, right? Let's take a look, right? I think we have ABC. Looking at buying Goldman, what would be a good entry level, right? So let me just go to cover this stock right now. Goldman Sachs, right? One of the top investment banks in the world, trading at $879. So you're looking to buy, right? First of all, I would say if you're looking to buy, it is a good, correct position, all right? It's a correct direction, right? Why? Because you can see that for Goldman Sachs, it is pretty much in a very firm, longer-term uptrend. Let me just go to turn off the bullish and the bearish signals right over here. You can see that for the moving averages for Goldman, right? The long-term trend is up, red above the blue, both pointing up. Since when? Since very long already. I think since like 2023, maybe end of 2023, right? It has been in a very firm long-term uptrend. However, doesn't mean the long-term trend is up, means the short-term is always up, right? We can also see weakness in the short-term. The short-term trend can be down. Look at it. It was in like February, March 2025 last year. You can see the green line was down, right? Down. Over here in October also down, all right? Somewhere over here in December 2024 also down. So the short-term trend can be down. However, when we wait for the short-term trend to also turn up, when the longer-term trend is already up, that is where we see a massive rally, all the way up. Look at the green line, right? Over the past 2-3 weeks, you can see the green 20 days moving average line was flat, right? It was down a little bit, flat, and it started to point up, right? Since early of November. Is it still pointing up? Yeah, still pointing up, right? So now the long-term trend is up and the short-term trend is also up, right? So it's definitely a good stock to think about loading up to write even more upside to maximize your profits in an uptrend. And this is by looking at the trend indicators, right? But this is just 2 confirmations that we have out of 7, right? So as I say, what we're using is the One Good Trend Pro indicator based on the entire One Good Trend framework, right? So we have a 7-step confirmation checklist whereby if we get 4 out of 7, so now you got 2 already, right? But if we get 4 out of 7, so we need 2 more, right? What are the 2 more that we look out for? Well, what we want to look out for would be like the bullish or bearish signals. Look at this to turn on. Are there any bullish signals coming out as well? All right. So you look at Goldman. Well, we don't always have bullish. Sometimes also got bearish. You can see over here, bearish. Wow, all the way down from like 650 all the way to 500, right? But in April, after the tariff and stuff, right? In April, May, we got a bullish signal, and there we go. The green line also turned up. There we go, all the way up 46% in 5 months. Cool, not right? And that was kind of like a rally, right? So a bearish signal in October, it went sideways, the green line went sideways. But let's take a look what has happened over the past 2 months. Now, we got 2, not 1, 2 1GT bullish signals. Would that be another confirmations we're looking for? Definitely. All right. So of course we want to stick 1 more, right? So I say you want to find a bit more. What is the other confirmation that we're looking at? A bit more advanced. We're looking at candlestick, a bit of volume and stuff, and also a bit of the entry zones we want to think about getting in as well, right? So you find a bit more, attend a free webinar. We have the very first free session next Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. on the 6th of January, right? The link is right in the chat, right? The link's right in the chat, okay? But let's take a look at what is happening right now. You can see that for Goldman, short-term trend is up. Long-term trend is up. We got 2 bullish signals. We can turn on the trailing support. Actually, that would be another confirmation. We can turn on the trailing support and see if we are above it. yeah, we are still above it, right? In fact, there's some space within the price and the trailing support. Why? Because the trailing support, as I mentioned, it gives the stock the room to breathe. As it moves up, it follows it up. If you're above it, you're fine, right? But if you break below it, and then not so good, because we give you the space, you should be above, but if you go below it, something is wrong. We might be seeing some heavy selling coming back. Doesn't mean it's going to trash, doesn't mean it's going to crash, but we are definitely seeing some heavy selling coming back. So we want to be above the trailing support. So right now we're still above the trailing support at about the $840. So the price 879, right? So we're above the trailing support, not too bad. We can go to turn that off, still good. All right. Horizontal support level, well, I would say over the past 2 weeks, it seems like not even 840, I think about 870. Some horizontal support have came out. You can see it's where some bargain hunting have came back. So 870 all the way to about 925, 920. I think that's pretty much the range right now. We might be just consolidating for a bit. If you break the 925, 930 level, I think that's where, maybe the 920 resistance, if you break that, that's where targets could be revised all the way to 1,000. All right. And we could see more upside momentum as well. All right. So that will be Goldman Sachs. Okay. So, yep. I hope that helps. Let's move on to the next US stock. Mervin, yours.
All right. Thanks, Joey. Okay. So here we go. TF, hi. Good morning, Joey and team. Hope we can pick this today. I've sold most of my stocks. Okay. Wow. Starting afresh in 2026. Okay. So looking at restock, any stock at the start of reversal can buy and hold for 2026. All right, so your most recent entry is for CRDO, entered at 142.5. Can hold more upside or next upside. Thanks. All right, thanks for the very detailed message. Let me throw it up there. Okay, so here we go. So I have CRDO or Credo Technology Group right here. I think you have recently got in. I think it should be more recent over the last few days, I'm assuming. Let me just hide your message first because it's quite long. Okay, so here we go. I think we are quite okay for Credo first. Why? We have the 100 days moving average pointing up, 200 days moving average pointing up. We can identify a larger range, right? A larger range from the 130 to about that 190 level, right? Credos have just been consolidating within this range for the past 3 months already, TF. All right, so you got in, I think most recently 142.5. So I think you could be right around here, right? I do not think you will be, you have held it for so long. Why? It's because I think once it had reached that 190 level for the second time, you would have already sold it as well. So I think this could be a nearer term trade for you. And I think we have that 1GT bullish signal still showing up, but a little bit of weakness is present. Prices have started to head down after testing the 190 level. And that 20 days moving average previously, which was quite flat, have also started to point down. All right, so I think in the nearer term, you can expect some selling pressure to be present, right? But as long as that 130 level is intact, I would say still pretty much okay. You should still pretty much see the stock move in a range bound format, or in a range bound pattern where we can of course look to pick up some profits or to lock in some profits if prices approach that 190 level once again. But I don't think you would have to sell everything. I don't think you have to sell everything. I think you can leave like maybe 1/3 of the position just to give yourself that additional exposure, because the next upside could be even up to the 250 level. All right, because prices have been consolidating in this range for a while. A breakout could see prices fly or move up very quickly to the next target as well. But is that going to happen anytime soon, or is it going to happen next week, tomorrow? I mean, likewise, the answer will be I don't know. But as of right now, as long as that 20 days moving average is able to stabilize, right? Look something like this, then start to head up higher again. I think that's not too bad. All right, that's not too bad. But I would say if you're thinking of going ahead to buy more at close to the 130 level, I think that is not necessary. You already have a position in place from previously, and I think you would much rather be protecting your downside. All right, so now we talk about the downside protection. Why? Because as long as you protect your downside, your upside will just take care of itself. So not to worry there. All right, so where would you place your stop limit order? Just very quickly turning on that trailing support and resistance. You can see that trailing support is right around that 130 level as well. All right, so maybe about 1 to 2% below that 130 level, that is potentially where you want to be alerted, you want to have your stop limit orders at as well. It's because that is where another 1GT bearish signal can show up if that support is broken. So if that support is broken, that means that horizontal support of 130 is broken. That trailing support is also broken at the same time. So that is definitely not a very, very good sign already. It means selling pressure could pick up even faster. And that next support would be around this $100 psychological level, where previously was a resistance, turn into a support as well. All right, so TF, I think you are off to a great start. You have a position in place already, but I think we cannot just forget about it. So we want to just watch the counter very, very closely, set up some alerts if prices approach that 190 level again. All right, so now I'll pass the time to Jai to cover the next requested stock for the last requested stock for today before we hop onto the bonus stocks. Jai.
All right, thank you, Bhavin. So I'll be covering the last stock before the bonus stock. So I'll be covering on Han Zhong. I think asking about FLNC at around 21.38. Trend seems to be intact. No, any views on this? Okay. So no, based on what I see, no, the 100 days and 200 days is actually pointing up. So actually the strength of the long-term strength is still intact, which is same as what you are seeing. But I would say for the 20 days moving average, it's actually trading a bit of like sideways, flattening. You might see that currently there's some temp support maybe around that 18 to 19 level. So actually it's trading a bit sideways now, and there's some resistance near that 22 resistance level. But I would say long-term wise it's still uptrending, and there's a 1GT bullish signal. So prices actually currently have some support around the 18 level. If it's not able to stay above this 18 support level, it might come back down back to the 15 to 16 support level, which is quite a key support level, which it previously broke above this level and came back down to test this level and was managed to stay above. So if prices were to be able to break above this 22 resistance level, you might see more upsides towards that 25 and maybe 26. But for now, if you just look at the chart wise, based on the trend, it's actually uptrending. Both the 200 days and 100 days is actually pointing up. And if it's able to break above this 22 resistance level, the 20 days moving average will also start to point up. Yep. So I think that's a quick one on how the trend is like for FLNC. So I think hope that answers the questions. If not, I'll pass my time back to Joey.
Okay, thank you so much, Jai. Right, let's move on to the bonus stock for today. Right, so we have covered a total, guys, of 18 US stocks. Let me just go to run through them very quickly. All right, and I hope that you've got value. We have covered your US stocks as well. So first of all, right at the beginning, we covered the S&P 500 index, the Dow Jones as well. I give you guys a very quick market outlook of what has happened in 2025 and my take on 2026 as well. What's some of the key targets, key resistance level whereby we could hit there, even see some selling as well. So hope you got an idea of the market. I'm still pretty bullish for 2026, especially if we break those resistance level that I talk about, right? So watch the replay. So the replay will be on YouTube, because we are now live on YouTube as well as on Facebook. So if you missed it, you can watch the replay. Probably be ready, maybe 1 hour after the entire live session has ended. All right. But let's talk about the stocks that were covered. So the very first stock I covered today was Visa. All right, Bervin covered on Vertiv Holdings, C Limited was covered, Nibius Group, Merck and Company, Path, Meta, SPDR Gold Shares, all right, AMD, Advanced Micro Device was covered as well, Alphabet, Microsoft, Intel, Sofi, right, Sofi Technology, I did that, all right, Palantir, Moderna, Goldman Sachs. We have Credo Technology, number 17. And finally, GRE just covered Fluence Energy. Never heard of this stock before, but very good coverage right there. All right. And now let's move on to the bonus stock for today. All right. This type of V for value, guys. If you guys got value so far out of today's entire sharing from me, from Bervin, as well as from Jai as well, type of V for value. If you got value, let me know, guys, got value. All right, before we move on to the bonus session, let me know. V for value, I want to acknowledge all of you for still being here, joining us for almost 2 hours, right? Let's see who is here. Value, Joseph, Melina. I think Melina, we covered your stock, right? If I'm not wrong, right? Value, hi, Behon as well, Chin Behon. Joseph, value, awesome, right? Lots of value. So I'm glad that you guys got value, right? As I say, our apologies, guys, if we cannot cover all the stocks. There's more than 50 over US stocks. We were trying our best to like scan through and see which is the most popular one, right? But really hope that all of you got value. All right, value, V stands for Vanessa, right? Okay, so thank you so much, right? Now let's move on to the bonus stock for today. So each of us, me, Bervin and Jia have a bonus stock, and that's where I want to share with you guys 3 US bonus stock for today. So let me go to share my screen right now. And the very first bonus stock for today will be that of Micron Technology, right? Micron Technology. And in fact, I think some of you actually asked about Micron. In fact, let me just go and pull out the chart. I think 2 or 3 of you were asking about Micron, right? Where is it? I think we have like Migo Tasena, right? Also, if possible, can I ask your opinion on Micron, Western Digital, and Sunday? So Micron, right? I'm considering to buy Micron. Good, I'll cover Micron in a bit, right? There was Micron that was asked. I think another of you was asking about Micron. Okay, I think that's probably hidden somewhere. But anyway, a few of you were asking about Micron, and that was actually the bonus stock that I'd like to share with you guys in today's session, right? So as I say, right at the beginning, my take on the market for 2026 is that the team will be pretty much still be focusing on the AI sector, the artificial intelligence, right? Which has been pretty much leading the rally since May, June. At the end of April, it started, right, with tariffs, fears being, cooling off. The play was pretty much to the technology sector. Of course, along the way, we saw a couple of sell down, but buyers come back and push it even higher, right? And of course, there were some talks about valuations becoming over, above the fundamentals, right? That led to some sell down as well. But overall, we are seeing a bit of strength. Still strength coming back on the entire AI sector. And that would be the gameplay as well for 2026, right? In my view, right? And Micron will be one of those stocks whereby I think there's still a lot of upside potential, right? Because we are still seeing more signs of strength in terms of more bullish signals actually appearing, right? So let me just go to talk about Micron right now. The code is MU, right? I'll not go too far, but previously somewhere in May 2025, we got a bullish signal. Well, it started to go up a little bit, right? Not much. I think from here to here, maybe about 51, about 51% in about 2 months, not too bad. And then we got a bearish signal. So we get a bearish signal, the green line also turned down. Then you want to be careful, right? Get out, right? Wait for a re-entry, and it did come, right? We got not 1, but we got 2 bullish signal, right? There we go. That was in August. And what happens after that? Pop, all the way down, all the way up. We got a bearish signal coming out somewhere in November as the market sold off 104%. in 3 months. Does it make sense, right? So this would, I think 100% is pretty impressive, right? Get out, take some profit, right? Wait to get back in again. Wait to see a new bullish signal coming back again, right? Like what we see over here, pump, right? And over the past 1-2 months, so I want to share with you guys because over the past 1-2 months, in fact, over the past 2-3 weeks, we got same 2-1 GT bullish, right? Previously was 2, now also 2. All right, previously was maybe about a month apart, now maybe about 1 week apart. Does it make sense, all right? So that's why I'm a bit more bullish in this stock, right? Not 1 but 2, right? And the long-term trend is due up. Look at the red and the blue line. Red above the blue, long-term uptrend tick. All right, we got a tick. We got a confirmation, right, from the 7-step checklist that I have, right? The short-term trend. Look at the green line. Well, if you ask me, the green line, it was like up since September, up. We got a bearish signal November, and we got the green line actually started to flatten out. Make sense? So you actually, if you ask me in like November or early December, I would say wait first because the green line is still kind of like flat now. Maybe you can try to accumulate near the support, right? But we actually got a bearish signal, right? However, if you ask me like over the past 1-2 weeks, different story. Why? Because now we got 2 bullish signal, plus the green line also started to turn up right over here, right? That would be another confirmation of strength coming back. All right. So I would say that right now, well, support would be somewhere around the $270. I think that was a little bit of a resistance. We neared it, came down, pump. We went above 270. We're still above the 270 psychological support level. Resistance, turn support. So resistance, the psychological resistance would be around the 300. I think over the past few days, I think 300 would be what we call kind of like a level whereby some selling pressure can come back, which is normal. 300 is a psychological level as well. Normally when we hit there, I think some profit taking can happen. Good, we can take a break, take a rest. From 270 to 300, we might see a bit of a consolidation, up, down, up, down, up, down, right? But very simple. I think if we can break the 300, we break the 300, that's where targets could be revised. We could see targets being revised maybe all the way to 340, maybe even to that 350 resistance level. All right. We may even see a new bullish signal coming out, all right, after some consolidation. Cool. Right. So that is Micron Technology. The code is MU. Right. What pretty much the US stock I shared with you guys today at the very first session of 2026. I hope that helps. All right. Let me pass on the mic to Bervin to cover his top US stock for today. All right. Bervin, yours.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so Joey covered Micron Technologies more in the AI space, still in the technology space, but I want to go in a little bit of a different direction for now, just to give you guys a different option. All right, give you guys a choice. Okay, so my bonus stock for today or since the start of 2026 will be JP Morgan Chase. So if you guys have been following our AMAS, you know that we have been following this stock for a while now. We have been following this stock for a while now, and the trend continues to look good after consolidating. All right, so definitely we'll look at JPM, not as much growth as some of those AI counters that you're actually looking out for, but still very respectable. All right, consistently consolidating and finding new higher supports. All right, I think most recently we have actually broken above that 320 target that we had previously set out to do already. All right, so I think prices have pulled back a little bit after breaking above this new resistance turn support recently, but we have that 20 days moving average still pointing up, 100 days moving average still pointing up, and that 200 days moving average still pointing up. That shows that the shorter term trend is still aligned with the longer term uptrend at this point. We could perhaps see a little bit of a consolidation within that buy zone. Right, so this opens up an opportunity for those of you who like to buy on a breakout. All right, we are still currently within that buy zone, but where could the next target be towards? All right, the 320 target has given way, so the next target would be towards the 350. I mean, it's 347, but let's call it 350. I think that would be the next resistance where potentially we can see prices start to consolidate within as well, similar to like what had happened previously. I think this is a sign that the longer term uptrend is pretty much intact. So of course, JP Morgan Chase or any sector, I think will not be as volatile, I would say, as the tech sector. So if you would like to pick up some of another stock or another sector's stock, I think this could be a good choice. I think just now somebody shared about someone's asking about Goldman Sachs. I think these are pretty much the investment banks that are in the same league to actually watch out for. Okay, so currently we have one, not two. Joey's Micron had two, but this one only had one GT bullish signal after prices have broke above our 320 target. All right, so I think if we can see another break above that 350 target, we may see another 1 GT bullish signal. All right, so for those of you who have previously already picked up some of these JP Morgan Chase, you may be curious to find out where would that trailing support be right now. The trailing support right now would be around that $308 level. So you have two choices. If you like to lock up more profits, you could potentially put your stop limit order just underneath that 320 psychological level, maybe about 315, 314. They'll be representing about 2% down from that horizontal support. Alternatively, below that trailing support would be ideal as well if you would like, or if you have a larger risk appetite. All right, personally, I would prefer to place the stop limit orders below the trailing support because, like we've said, it takes into account the natural volatility of the stocks. All right, okay, so now I will pass the time to Jia to cover the last bonus stock that he had prepared for you guys today. All right, then maybe after that, Joey can do the wrap up for everyone. Jai, please.
All right, thank you, Bervin. So the last stock that I'll be covering on will be on Bank of America, another financial stock which is quite similar to Bervin. So I said, based on this counter-wise, actually you can see that previously back in May, there was some resistance near that 44 level, but it was able to break above this level back in June after around the late second half of the year back in 2025. So you can see that actually the price was consolidating around that 44 to 48 level, around this price level, but wasn't really able to stay above this 48 resistance previously. Came back down to test the support of around 44, and only back in August it managed to break above, which actually there was a 1 GT bullish signal that appeared, and prices actually went to the next phase of consolidation. So afterwards in August, it actually consolidated around the 48 to 52 level. Came to test the resistance again, came back down to the 48 support level. Actually it's quite a healthy consolidation phase. And back in October, it came back, is able to break above that 52 resistance level, but then came back down to test around the support. So actually, if you see the price now, it's actually near the consolidation phase, or that range where it's actually around the 52 to 56 resistance level. So I wouldn't say you should buy now, even though this counter is actually showing strength, both 100 days, 200 days, and even the 20 days moving average is pointing up. So if you want, you can actually wait for the price to actually stay above this 56 resistance level, which is actually which might turn into a new support level. So this is a zone where you can look at if prices were to able to break above this 56 level and stay above. And where's the next potential upside for this counter? So like previously, there's a range of around $4, went up around $4, another $4. So just to project upwards, a simple one, the next resistance that this counter might see will be around that 60 resistance level, which is also a psychological level. So if prices were to break above the 56 level, you might see that the next upside will be around that 60 level, which you can consider to take profit as well. But if prices are not able to break above that 56, you might see that it might come back down to test the support of around that 52, which is also around that 100 days moving average. So if you're more conservative, you can consider to enter near the support level, which is around that 52. But if you're more aggressive, you can wait for price to break above that 56 and enter near that price, and the next target price will be around that 60 level. Yep. If not, with that, I'll pass on my time back to Joey to wrap up.
Okay, thank you so much, Jari. And there we go, guys. We have covered a total of three bonus stock today, right? The very first bonus stock I covered would be that of Micron, right? Micron. And then we covered the next one would be that of JP Morgan, right? JP Morgan. And number 3, Jia actually covered on Bank of America, right? Bank of America, right? So I think that would be 3 bonus stock: Micron, Bank of America, and JP Morgan. So we hope you like this stock, guys. All right. And as I say, guys, today we don't have time to cover the entire strategy. But if you like for us like for me to actually break it all down for you. I'll attend a free webinar. We have a webinar next Tuesday on the 6th of January, all right, 7:30 p.m. The One Good Trend workshop. So link is right in the chat. Go to click on the link. And that's where you come to this page right over here. And that's where you can go to register, all right? Name, your email, your phone number. And that's where I look forward to share more with you next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. on the entire One Good Trend framework. And also the One Good Trend Pro indicator that we use, right, to analyze your stock and share with you guys our bonus stock as well, right? How do we actually know when to get in and get out? Right? How do we know based on the bullish and bearish signals when it appears, plus what are other confirmations we seek as well, to just push up the winning rate, the winning ratio, right? Or find what we call a high probability trade setup, right? By following a simple and repeatable process. How do we do all that, right? You want to find out more? Attend a free webinar next Tuesday, and that's where I can't wait to share with you guys more on the entire One Good Trend strategy. So the link's right over here in the chat. Click on it, you come to this page, click on it, all right? And that's where I look forward to sharing more with you, right? Team, just place the link in the chat again, Bervin, all right? Okay, and next, guys, I know today we're looking at the US market, right? We're looking at the US market. However, how many of you like to know, I'll get some of my top Singapore ideas daily by WhatsApp, right? For free on a daily basis, right? How many like to do that, right? If you want to do that, guys, very simple. I know some of you might be already a client of mine in Philips Securities. So if you want to get some of my top ideas by WhatsApp live daily, check out how you can become a client of mine in Philips Securities. We are not yet a client. In fact, let me know, guys, how many of you are clients of mine in Philips Securities? Type a C for client. If you are already a client of mine in Philips Securities, that means you have a trading account under me in Philips Securities. I'm your broker. Type a C for client. Let me know. I want to acknowledge and thank all of you as well. Let me know. All right, I think we have quite a lot of clients joining us over here, right? Victor, thank you so much. Dave, Wong, all right. Acer Best, not yet. All right, okay, very good. Client. A lot of our clients over here, thank you so much for support, right? But if you want to join many of our clients like Celia, like Jan, all right, Tengan as well, all right, to get some of our top ideas by WhatsApp daily for free, okay? The link is right in the chat. The team just place the link in the chat again. I think it's probably hidden somewhere, right? Find out how you can become a client of mine in Philips Securities to get some of those ideas for free. So you do not pay anything more, right? So I don't know where you're trading right now, but to buy and sell stock, you probably need a trading account, right? I mean, to buy and sell stock. So if you're kind of like trading, you have a trading account, but you log in on your own, nobody care about you, your own broker never send you any idea, video, WhatsApp, training, nothing, nobody call you, nobody WhatsApp you. Click on the link in the chat, find out more as to how to get some of my top ideas, Singapore ideas by WhatsApp live daily for free at no additional cost. Yeah, pretty much the same as whatever you pay when you're trading, right? But you get some service at least lah. Does it make sense, Bob? All right, so the link is right in the chat and look forward to work more with you as well. All right, together with my team, and you get some of those ideas as well. All right, so yes, I think we have pretty much come to the end of today's session. All right, and yep, I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining us over here. I look forward to see you in the next Tuesday. You've not signed up for the 1GT webinar yet. The link's right in the chat as well. And that will be pretty much the end of today's session, right? So Bervin and Choy, anything to add, right?
All right. I would like to just thank everyone for joining us for the first AMAS of 2026. All right. So of course, this week is the Singapore session, but next week will be the next week will be the Singapore session. So if you would like, here's the link to the next week's AMAS. So alternatively, you can also subscribe to Joey's YouTube channel so you get notified when we are going live. And we hope to see more and more of you guys joining us throughout 2026. All right. So, I mean, thanks so much for you guys' time on this Friday morning. So, I think that's all from me.
Jia, anything to add?
I would just like to add for those who are interested to find out more. Our AMS is always alternate. Every day, every week, Friday will be on US, then next week will be on Singapore. So if you're interested in US, this week, then if not, will be the following week. If you're interested in Singapore, it will be the next week. So just feel free to join us and hope that the 2026 we'll be able to learn together and achieve a good achievement together lah.
All right, thank you so much. So that's it, guys. I think we have come to the end of today's AMAS session, US edition. We look forward to see you next Friday. Of course, course, in the webinar next Tuesday as well. You've registered, good. I look forward to sharing more with you about the strategy. We'll see you next Friday for the Singapore Market AMAS. So thank you so much for joining us. Happy New Year. Have a good celebration. All right, your family. We hope you had a good holiday over December as well. We all had a good break. So thank you so much, ABC. Thank you. Let me just acknowledge all of you. Colleen, thank you as well. All right. So thank you so much, guys. We'll see you guys the next one. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.